Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games. And this is, wow, episode 51 already. Was it 52 weeks a year? So we're nearly up to a year's worth of weeks with a few breaks, not that many breaks. We've got a few things that we are currently improving about this game, and as you will have heard with episode 50, we have now got I was going to say something along the lines of glamorous assistant. She is glamorous, but certainly not an assistant. We have Kate, who is now the producer of this show. Finally, I've got off my stubborn high horse, and I am just going to be the DM now. And Kate is going to be our producer. We've got Felicia, who does a lot of our art. We've got Nick, who does the D&D Beyond for the players. And so, there's a lot of us doing things now rather than me frantically trying to do everything and kind of failing in some areas. The last episode, when I listened to it after Kate had corrected some stuff and we're just getting into how it all works now, was amazing. And after a really long, hard day in work, I listened to the crispness of the sound and how everything was laid out and some of Kate's flair of putting up the graphics, and wow, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. And it's kind of brought back to me how much more you can do in a group. Last week I talked about writing and how, yes, I can sit down with my bullet journal here and I can write out various ideas, but things don't really take off until I have my friends, the people who make me laugh, to be muses and to take the things that I give them and to run with it. And so we're going to be, hopefully, going to Dragon Meet. That's in London on the 30th of November. And we're hopefully all going to be there, apart from Felicia, who, unfortunately, being in Sweden, flying in for one day is a cost a little too far at present. But it'll be myself, Corinne, Nick, and Kate for the meet and greet. There's a possibility that we may run some games there as well. So we will potentially be running a ghost story. One of my favourite ghost stories, actually, the Vaudeville Ghost, in the morning. And there is even a potential that we will do a mock pilot of a podcast later on in the evening. They're still deliberating the schedule. Obviously, it's very, very popular, and we've said that we'll contribute as and when. Kate, however, has been asked to become part of a panel. And the working title at the moment is So You Want to Do a Podcast. Now, being that Kate's done a successful web series, well, award-winning, and also has been invaluable with keeping us from falling into tech issue hell, I can't think of a better person to put forward. And originally they kind of asked if I wanted to go on there, and I was like, well, if you want to do a panel on incessantly talking and being somewhat on the spectrum for writing obsessively, yeah, put me front and center. But when it comes to doing a panel about successfully getting online and being able to put forward a good production quality, then yeah, sure, Kate is the person to go for. So kind of partly with her permission, I kicked her to the front, and she graciously accepted. The one thing that I would like to say, though, and I'm going to say it to everybody who's watching this today, is a lot of doing this is about the first step. I have a friend at the moment who has recorded a lot of stuff, but she refuses to put that first thing out there, and step forward. Now, she's got a lot of very good reasons, but a lot of people have got tons of great ideas, and they're not willing to do that first step because they want to make sure they don't fail. In the Silhouette Zero podcast, they have a phrase that I love called failing forward. Now, in that, it means that you end up getting a failure, but with some advantages, and the advantages end up doing better than the intended success. But there's a way of failing forward in life as well, and that is going out and trying something. When I look back at the first set of episodes for Chaotic Neutral's Benefactor, I cringe. I really do. I'm just like, oh my god, it's pretty much proving the meme of graphic design is my passion. I wasn't very good at it, and it's only once everybody else started chipping in that we ended up succeeding together. But the important thing is, both in DMing in the first place, taking that that nerve-wracking first step where you step behind the screen, or doing any form of broadcast, is to just get as close as you can to it, get in there and learn as you go. Anybody who thinks that they're going to have a perfect first time on any form of stage, whether it's a real stage or a virtual stage, is wrong. Absolutely wrong. And I'm pretty sure Kate would agree with me with that, is that, your first step onto the stage is going to be nerve-wracking. There's always the chance for failure. Be prepared, but also be prepared that you're going to be on some sort of improvement curve. And certainly that's true of this campaign, and anything that we do in future now, it's only ever going to get better. But it only ever gets better when you take that first step. And the only advice that I would give to anybody is to make sure you have the right idea of what success means. For us, the first success was having fun. The second was to make someone laugh. The third was to have a community, no matter how small, as long as we had fun. And every time I go onto Discord and see the crazy conversations that the guys have on Discord, I know that I've won. And I've won several times. There are more wins to have, there is more pleasure to be had, but every single win, being creative, expressing yourself, all of these things are wins. And as long as you're doing that, you can never fail. Never truly. No matter how much your previous work makes you cringe. Anyway, enough of me rabbiting on. It's time that we got started and met the rest as we start with episode 51 of The Benefactor. Welcome back, everybody, and hello to the players.
Hello.
Hello.
So, this should, failing any, challenging dragons to duels or trying to bring down the system from inside or anything along those lines, this should be the last episode for a while in which you are in Glory's home, Atal'Zaran. However, as your levels go up and you end up with fast travel, you'll be bouncing all over the damn plane, so, yeah. Soon I'm going to be one run-ragged DM.
Let's
I
go
like traveling.
to-
Actually, fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, traveling broadens the horizons, my dude.
Yeah, we should go to the Wild Coast and
No,
meet
you are not
Wild-
going to the other game.
What? And just cause a massive sort of paradox.
Yeah, and I wanna play both my characters at the same time instead of talk to myself. Pretend I'm the DM.
This has actually happened before, where the players of one game got to the level where they heard of a world event, went, "Hey, we're going to go and help out with that," and I was like, "Oh shit, I better get hold of the other group then." And we ended up getting together for a weekend. Everybody was around the table, but as Corinna's just said, two of them were playing two characters at the same time.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's not the worst headfuck I've had in terms of that. That would be for a friend of mine, Zoe Winter, her 18th birthday party. She wanted to roleplay for her 18th, which just respect for the geekism. and we were playing World of Darkness at the time, and I was in a manic storytelling place at that point, and we all at that point were playing in LARP a vampire character, and everybody also had a werewolf character and a Changeling the Lost character and a mage character. So 4 different things, and she wanted something memorable for her 18th. So I put together a thing where all of our characters turned up at the same time to solve the same problem. And it meant that I think the least number of characters one person was playing was 3. Yeah, it was absolute chaos, but great fun.
And it's also the one time you told me about where the DM had to speak to themselves for like 4 hours because you were in a court and then you hired an NPC defendant.
Oh yeah, that's slightly different though. That was us torturing the DM, but yeah. That when I'm not the DM, it's funny.
Excuse me, 2 minutes. I'm just writing something down.
Okay, well, thankfully, at the moment, the guys in the Tuesday game, the home game, are in a plane of existence you've never even heard of, so there. Right.
Fuck you.
That's not to say that you can't go there, trash everything they own, and then when they come back, they have nothing. No, let's not go there. Oh, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? If all of a sudden the players from one game jump into the other campaign, solve the campaign, and then leave again, so when they come back, everything's fine. No, this is just... No. Okay. Let's get to the game, shall we? You guys have just stepped out of the huge cathedral-like palace of Frania. The black dragon that is the patron and lord of Atal'Zaran. Also, the Benefactor, use the campaign's title, of Glorys family. Although a strange benefactor because he makes sure that they are always their best, even if it means that they're killing each other. He makes the Adams family look well adjusted. However, you step back out into the beautiful city of Coatl. The previous cities that you were in were very busy, very industrious. This place is not devoid of people, but comparatively, it's very sparse. Everyone that you can see is either wearing very well-to-do servant garb or the latest fashions. And because I recently re-listened to episodes 47 to 49, yes, cleavage apparently is in at the moment in Atal'Zaran. Thank you, girls. And so at the moment, the girls are being on good display. Apparently, last season it was thigh. I'm sure that Nick needs to know this very vital information for future campaigns.
We had a good breakfast together, and we talked fashion and boobs and thighs. It was great. You missed it.
Anyway.
All I'm going to say is, how did you know that he wasn't very insightful in this area? And that
he could be a fashionista. You don't know.
He could have completely have taken that conversation to a level that none of you could ever have thought.
We have already established that he's quite fit, so you know.
Yes, actually, yes.
He is my buff boy.
Yeah. I'm surprised, like, well, of course, not Glory, but, like, well, and Cora, well, yeah, I would only, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
What's a party to pick, eh?
You got a cat? Sorry.
So I'm gonna go back to the ocean. It understands me.
Yeah.
You start walking through the city, and as I said, the city before is pretty much entirely landscaped by an architect. There are patches of ornamental greenery. There's flowers that seem to be in bloom, and somebody made a roll before. The all of the flowers are in bloom simultaneously, which even if they are off season, they're in bloom. So some sort of magic shenanigans is going on here. And as you walk through it, it's this beautiful city to walk through. It's so peaceful, calm, rich, and by rich I mean it's a rich sensory experience. This is a city to be enjoyed, which, as much as Glory is enjoying being home, and I've said before she has this different gait while she's moving through the city. So did Hope. Hope has now, of course, left your side, and she is still back in the palace. And you all feel, that how can this be this lawful evil society when there's just this such beautiful city at the heart of it all? Glory, however, knows that this city is the most deadly of them all. That everything here is the biggest lie. And this is where the game is at its strongest. You carry on walking through the city, and other than a few very, very talented performers, violinists, harpists, bards of unequal caliber, are playing on street corners, and you notice they're on little daises that show that they're supposed to be there. They're not buskers. These are miniature stages, and they're not places where people haphazardly watch them. There are benches tactfully put nearby where one may just sit down and take a moment to be inspired, take a moment of peace, and then move on. But most people just enjoy it as they walk past. You get beautifully assaulted by scents of these blossoms that are in full bloom. And those of you who have got a passive perception of 14 or higher understand that these particular blossoms, each bed of blossoms that you go past, have been matched together both in quantity and type, so that the mixture is a specific perfume. Each bed that you go past smells differently. You can detect there's a little bit of Balin Rose in one, and you can tell that there's some Widow's Grace in another. You can recognize the scents, but they're always mixed with something different. This one is sweet. This one is spicy and slightly acrid, but alluring in some way, like some sort of strange spice. This one feels creamy, like a vanilla scent, and almost like a smell of freshly cooked cookie dough as you go past. This is a place of absolute pleasure and reward. And once again, Glory understands that all of this around you is to show what happens when you are successful, when you have power. Once you have had power, once you've put the effort in, once you've shown your talent, once you show excellence, you have the reward. And you are rewarded by this society. That's the lawful element of it all. If you're part of this society and if you play by its rules, you are rewarded, even if you end up being killed tomorrow because you made the wrong rival. The large vista in front of you, as you turn around a corner, there's a beautiful street, and considering everything has been beautiful up until now, this is very ornamental, very lavish. You would expect this to be one of these kind of gated streets where nobility would live in, for example, London. But there's no gate. There's no guards. There doesn't have to be. Law is everything here, and consequences are their own preventative. You walk down this street that has fountains and extra elements. There's a floating granite ball above a dais that just seems to be an ornament that's placed in the middle of the street. Either side are these large, lavish townhouses, but you seem to be going to the end of the street where there are two large ornamental gates. A horse and rider charges past you towards those gates, and as they get towards them, the horse disappears, and the rider, a cloaked figure, disapparates in front of the gates. As you approach, Glory starts to smile, and you can see that through the gates is a long and beautiful, lush garden. Sentinel trees, by which I mean flanking either side of the road, of all different species, are in this strange kaleidoscope, this strange sequence of variation, going up to what you can see is a rather large house in the distance. But all of this is not what catches you. In between each tree is a large stone figure made of, well, a mixture of things. This one alabaster, this one polished granite, this one marble. And each one is with their arms held out, holding a large bowl. A shallow bowl. It looks like a slightly deep dinner plate, I guess, but its underside is a perfect ellipsis. And then you can't see because these statues are quite about 14 foot in height, maybe higher. You can't see into the bowls because they're well above head height. As Glory walks up to the gates, two figures, one either side of the gate, appear from nowhere. Their invisibility spells have now have been dismissed. And there's two of the Blackguard. One of them steps forward and says, "You appear to be the Glory of Frania."
Yes.
He opens up the mouth of the dragon-headed helmet, and his eyes start to glow. You notice this guy is tiefling, but doesn't look anywhere like the family that you've seen so far. And there's a certain family resemblance amongst the Coatls you've seen so far. His eyes don't glow like the Coatls. Instead, they're two pale white orbs on an otherwise kind of plum-coloured face, as much as you can see inside the helmet. There is, however, a momentary flash from his eyes and says, "You speak truth. Enter, Glory." And he turns, and as he turns, you notice that the jaw on his helmet closes without him choosing to do so. It's just, as he turns his head, it just naturally closes again. He goes back to his position, nods to the other guard. They both turn invisible again, and both of the gates open. You can hear a voice that's kind of all around you as you step through the gates. And it says, "The Glory has returned." And one of the bowls lights up with an arcane fire. You notice at this point that some of the other bowls are also aflame. And Glory, you probably smile when you see that one of a dashing man in kind of a toga-like costume has his bowl alight. And also a cheeky-looking boy who's holding a goblet instead of a bowl, and the goblet is aflame.
Fantastic.
So it's one of the statues like Glory. Can we see that one of the statues is actually Glory?
As you walk down this quite long drive, it's a thing of nobility and manor houses everywhere. They normally have redunculously long drives. As you get to the one that just lit up, you can see a very, very beautiful statue of Glory Teska Coatl. And her bowl was the one that lit up when she walked through the gate.
I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. What's going on? What? Why? Why?
Why do you have a statue?
That. Yeah, that's a good place.
Because someone Teska Coatl.
Because she's
Of
kind of
course I have
important
that.
here. Like,
Yeah,
duh.
but we asked if you were royalty, and you said no. I mean, this is like
Of course not.
kings and queens level stuff.
It's kind of pretentious.
You and I are
Oh,
gonna
you
have a
haven't
sit
even
down.
seen the inside yet, Eclipse. You're gonna love it.
Eclipse, we're really gonna have to work on that honesty trait that you have. It's great. I love it, but
Yeah, we are going to have a really boring conversation tonight about this because you're giving me such indigestion.
Oh, don't worry. As far as I can see, no one dangerous is home at the moment.
That
reassuring.
Yeah.
Either way, welcome to the Coatl family home.
You walk down the long drive towards what it becomes increasingly this incredibly large, stately home. This thing seems to be roughly, well, from what you can see on the front, crescent-shaped. You don't know how far it goes down the back, how many wings. But this thing looks like it has upwards of 100 rooms. The front entrance, this grand set of 3 double doors, with a pair of sweeping staircases that goes up to them, has a kind of track that you can imagine a ball maybe would be held here, and there would be carriages going in on the left, coming out on the right, and going back down this very long driveway. As you get close to this turnaround point in front of the main doors, a cloaked figure, the same cloaked figure you presume, walks out and bows before the doors are closed again, and they leap off the raised platform for where these doors are. As I say, there's a pair of stairs that go up to this platform, and then you go inside the house. They leap off that towards the gravel, and this is around about, I'd say, about 15 foot high at this level. And they leap off this 15-foot ledge, and as they do so, they cast their hand as if they're casting a spell, and a horse erupts from nowhere. They land on the horse onto the saddle, and and the horse starts running at you at a preternatural speed, and this time, because they're riding towards you. And the hood is kind of partially back. You can tell that they're trying to get the hood back up, but it's actually caught on a head claw. This type of tiefling, instead of having 2 large ram-like horns, they actually have spikes in a kind of crown coming out of their head. Think Darth Maul. They have the same kind of irisless orbs for eyes. These eyes are jet black. The skin is a kind of khaki to green color, and as the figure, who seems to be female, I'm going to say, if anybody was to kind of try to guess this person's gender, seems to be female. They give a kind of blackened smile. You notice that the lips and the gums are black. They give a blackened smile to Glory as this phantom steed charges straight past them. And it's only as it gets close that you can see that the steed is just a little too perfect to be a living being.
Mm.
You presume, Glory, this is a messenger.
Mm.
Okay. Something gone on? Is there like an emergency
No.
or fire? Is that just how the mail gets delivered here?
That's how the mail gets delivered. Farewell. They're expected to be quick.
I think Eclipse was right. This place is very ostentatious. And I don't just mean here, I mean everywhere.
That's the point. You're supposed to know that you've succeeded when you're here.
I have a horrible feeling that I'm either getting success very wrong or your definition of it is very different.
Very skewed.
Again,
Probably.
we've already got you out of prison once today, maybe not twice.
Again, as Glory said, we're alone here, and I'm not gonna stop being honest to Glory.
That's fair. Besides, I like your honesty. It's refreshing.
Oh, I'm all for honesty. I wouldn't do it within a hair's breadth of a fucking dragon. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are invisible people around as well. I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah. What's the plan? What are we doing here?
Getting dinner.
There is so much to unpack here.
Party! Having lunch.
I mean, we had high tea earlier, so it's about time for dinner.
Yeah, that was today.
So you start climbing these quite intimidating steps up to the front doors, and you notice that as you get to the large double doors, sigils start to flash along the sides of them, and the same sigils flash along the back of Glory's hand. And she doesn't even wave her hand or anything like that to command the doors to open. She just knows if she wants to go through those doors, the doors will open. And these large, 20-foot tall, 10-foot wide, ridiculously over-the-top doors open up to allow you all through. Inside, this kind of sweeping, flanking staircase motif is also repeated in this grand foyer. You think the foyer could probably have 60 people in it easily, and the stairs going up to the top, and this is kind of true of the design of some of these entertainment palaces. You know that the stairs go up to the resident families' quarters, that they would come down here and they would greet the guests on the stairs themselves. And then there's a certain etiquette of who can climb those stairs, who can go and socialize with them upstairs, and who has to wait in the more public area on the ground floor, although this ground floor, as I say, is raised from the outside, to know where you are and how you may meet the hosts is part of local etiquette, and it's very important here. In front of you, underneath the kind of archway made by these stairs, there are several sets of double doors. Not as large as the ones outside, but there's a very, very heavily decorated pair of central doors, which presumably goes onto a large ballroom. And then there's another two sets either side, presumably going to various dining rooms or entertainment rooms or salons. And this is where you would probably have the ladies' salon, although they probably wouldn't even call it the ladies' salon because gender roles in Illyria in general are not to that level. So the type of people who go in salons are going to salons. Gender is not a barrier or even expectation there. But if you're all about the types of things that go on in the salons where it's all about the one-upmanship of fashion, you'd want to go there. If you want to be in the general population, you'd go into the ballroom. If you wanted to go into a place where it's feasting and heavy drinking, there will be a room for that, but also a place where there is a polite form of drinking or even drinking tea. And games and things like that. You know that this is probably going to be completely bedecked with whatever you want should they throw a party. On the floor in front of you, that makes up the floor underneath the two arcing staircases, and straight forward all the way down to the doors themselves, is a large oval shape. And in that oval shape, at first you'd consider it to be a mosaic, but for it to be a mosaic, it would have to look like it's made out of broken pieces. This is like somebody has painted directly onto the floor. And you can see that it is a picture of a couple, a man and a woman, both tiefling, both clearly Tezca Coatls, now that you've seen enough of them. They're carrying a young, I can't remember, Felicia, is it Nefia that's carrying Chiron, yeah? Yeah. So the male is carrying, with some form of happiness, absolute joy in his face, a little boy. And at the skirts of the woman is unmistakably a very young Glory.
Farewell's just smiling and pointing once at Glory, then painting around at Glory again, and the painting, and then the Glory, and the painting. He's like,
Who would you think that turned into the heathen we know?
Excuse
A
me.
voice comes from nowhere and says, "Oh, believe me, it was there's a voice that comes from nowhere and says, "Oh, believe me, there was more than enough portent." This male voice almost purrs with it, but you don't know where the voice is coming from. And then you can suddenly hear this kind of scampering, as if a wild animal is running through the corridors of the house. And it's clearly coming from above you, and you can hear because the two staircases come together at a balcony by which they can look over the foyer, you can hear this childish voice saying, "Ganesh! Ganesh! Ganesh!" And this 6-year-old tiefling boy leaps off the balcony, off the banister of the balcony.
I want to catch him!
So yeah, as Farewell and Eclipse dash forward, he looks fit to brain himself on the polished marble floor below, and he gets around about 7 foot from the floor when, in a puff of smoke, he disappears and lands into the waiting arms of Glory, and he hugs her. You know, he does that kind of young child hug where they grab your neck and try to throttle you, and he kind of grabs her really tight and presses his face against hers, and he goes, "Ganesh, you're back."
Of course. Oh, let me look at you. You've gotten so big. Oh, my precious little. Oh.
Did you see the teleport? I can do it now. I can do it.
You're so good.
And
you're getting stronger by the day. Soon you'll be matching me.
And he says to you in Infernal, "I've been reading your journals. You know, the ones that you said I could read, and I understand most of the words now." And he's proving it by speaking to you in Infernal.
Oh, you're so good. Oh.
You can see that there's dirt, soot, his trousers are ripped, there's scuffs on his knees, there's a shred of some form of fabric sticking off one of his horns. He's got what looks like a mostly healed black eye.
Does he have like the typical 6-year-old look when he looked like they've been punched in the face because all their milk teeth are falling out?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, but I mean, I'm not going to get you to do a perception check, but just by looking at him, you know that he looked pristine first thing this morning. When he got dressed, he looked like a little lord, and throughout the day's misadventures, he now looks like some sort of, I don't know, it looks like somebody's just dragged him through a hedge, several hedges.
Yeah.
And you guys are focusing on this kid, this 6-year-old that's just jumped off the balcony, teleported, and he's just there, this absolute ragamuffin. Oh, I love that word. This ragamuffin of a tiefling, and he's there, he's just kind of gripping onto her, and okay, some of you are just patiently standing by and watching as he's speaking Infernal, and you're like, yep, don't speak that language.
I speak Undercommon.
You do recognise that the boy that she's holding is the grown-up version of the babe in arms that is painted on the floor. And similarly, at the top of the stairs, there is this incredibly beautiful man who you've seen tieflings, you've seen attractive tieflings, you've seen tieflings that hit every branch of the ugly tree. This guy is beautiful. And where you see a lot of lavish clothing on a lot of people here in Coatl, and especially in the palace, this guy is the type of guy that could look awesome in a bin bag. He's wearing a very loose-fitting, mostly open to the chest, silk shirt. He's wearing a kind of loose, you think probably maybe leather trousers, not shiny leather trousers, kind of understated. So they're kind of matte and black, and but yeah, they just look generally quite nice. And he's wearing these tall boots that the trousers are over rather than tucked into. But it all seems to work. He has a sash at his where you'd normally have a belt. He just has a sash that's slightly askew, but probably in a very fashionable way. And the sash itself is held together by the only piece of jewelry that he's currently wearing, and that is a small Tezca Coatl crest, very similar to Glorys. He looks down at you all and he smiles at you. I would like everybody apart from Glory to make a charisma saving throw.
Oh, and you do this before I get my shiny new items.
Yes. And yes, Eclipse is, depending on how this all goes,
Ooh.
either internally or externally expressing, oh no, he's hot.
Okay, so that's 14.
Okay, good to know.
Ooh, I'm glad my saving throw is quite high, but still.
Sorry, what was that, Nick?
18 for farewell.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Impressive.
13.
17 on the dice, baby.
13. Right,
13.
so
I rolled a 5.
sure. So farewell, you look at this guy and you're kind of like, okay, yeah, that's an attractive looking man. Other than that, no other effect other than that. So at the level of which you failed, both Cora and Eclipse, I want you to have as a conscious role-playing decision now that you are better opposed to him. Okay, so you have he's gained some status points with you, some favor. You haven't gone head over heels on the guy, but just to look at him, you're like, hey, this is a nice guy. Oh my god, I'm so pleased that we've managed to find a nice guy in this really shithole country. You know, isn't he really nice?
It's super nice.
When he sees both Cora and Eclipse look at him, he smiles this beautiful, beautiful smile. So warm, so gentle, so welcoming, and suddenly you feel very, very safe.
I know he's
He... just be glad you didn't get a 1.
That would have been something.
Yeah, it's like, okay, in the box labeled Senpai on your character sheet.
Yeah.
I would leave. I just have to leave.
In this episode of where Farewell tries to fuck your dad.
Yes.
You had to go there. Oh god.
He's pure dilf.
That is true, though. I made him to be pure dilf.
He's pure dilf.
Yes.
I mean, what are you doing if you're not trying to get down with the dilf? I'm so tired. I'm so unbelievably tired.
No excuses, no excuses.
Oh god. Oh.
Yeah, sorry, Simon.
Oh.
Derailed and so early in the game.
Do we still
So-
get to live on this session?
The beautiful gentleman walks down the stairs, again, graceful. He's gliding down. And he walks up to Farewell. Extends a beautifully, perfectly manicured hand and says, Nephew Tezca Coatl, at your service.
I shake his hand. Not like firmly, but that really kind of weird sort of like you're not quite sure like how strong their handshake is.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's a lot firmer than your A. And you know you're
Yeah.
like you're really trying to adjust it, but you don't want to come overly like over the and then you're just like farewell, Benefactor.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Hashtag British problems. Yes. And he says, so you've been the man that has been able to heal my daughter, should she be in trouble. You've kept her alive.
She's less challenging than some others.
Well, you, sir, are in my debt, and I shall call you friend. Please, you have my permission to call me nephew. May I call you farewell?
Yes.
Excellent.
I love farewell so much.
Did you mean it that way round, Simon? That he's in your debt? Surely the other way around. No?
Sorry, I am in your debt, sorry.
To Farewell, he's just like, why is the pretty person talking to me? Pretty people don't talk to me.
I love that he didn't even reflect on the fact
Look
that the
out,
pretty
it's a
person
popular
said
crowd.
that he was Glorys' dad.
Oh my god, the popular kids are letting me eat at their table. Don't fuck it up! Don't fuck it up! Sure.
In the background, Glory is continuously gushing over her little brother in Infernal and Draconic, and it's just switching.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that you're her father, not her brother, or something.
He gives a flirtatious laugh and says, yes, I have the honor of being this beautiful creature's father.
Okay, that makes this a little less weird. A little less
Somehow.
weird. Somehow.
I understand.
I'm gonna stop talking now.
Please. It's perfectly fine. I came from humble beginnings. I was not born into the Coatl finery. I was a simple man. A man of simple pleasures, but I was fortunate enough to become the love of the great ferocity. An honor that is never lost to me. Not one day. Not 1 second. And you must be Cora. And he goes and shakes your hand, and he says, "The slightly gritty friend," and he says, "I've heard of your exploits too."
Oh, cool.
And he says, it's good that Glory has a friend that she can confide in. Someone who is of the very best character.
Yeah.
And then he turns around, almost doing a bit of a Zoolander look, but without the corniness.
Oh my god.
He kind of...
Oh god, he blue lightnings!
He snaps around with a playful look and goes, "And you, at the Eclipse, you have been getting my girl into trouble." And he's coming up to you with what's supposed to look like a predatory walk, but is instead kind of like a sachet. And as he walks up to you, he kind of gets on.
I start purring.
He does not react to the purring, although you know that he's hearing it. Oh god, this must be terrible for a tabaxi. If you like someone, you start purring. It's like, shit, how do I hide this?
You don't.
It's not so much that she's purring, it's also the fact that her tail's standing straight up on end. Like, it's above her head. And it's like, she is very happy to see you right now.
And with mock anger, he comes up and purses his lips and says, "And you have been causing trouble for my daughter." He takes you in a friendly hug and whispers into your ear, "Thank you. I'd hate for her life to be boring."
Well, of course.
He steps back and then addresses Glory herself and says, "Hello, my little terrorling."
Father.
And then Chiron whispers into your ear, "He calls me terrorling too, and feeling. Those were your names."
Mm-hmm. Good job.
I mouth at Cora. Feeling? Why would she be called Feeling? I can read lips, by the way. Remember, I'm just pointing that out.
Reminder,
read
guys.
lips.
We still have our badges. If we want private conversations, we can just.
I don't know whether we trust those or that
Yeah,
they
that's
work
the sole
anymore.
reason that I'm
True,
not
true,
using
true.
them.
Very good
Yeah,
reason.
I'm
Very
not-
good reason.
I was just mouthing, feeling? Terroring? What the fuck?
Nefia turns around and says, "Please, farewell, Cora, Eclipse, my darling. Will you honor me with your company for a while? It gets so lonely in this large house all alone, and you know that I only really work at night."
That is true.
Yes. What do you do for your work?
I am an ambassador of sorts. It's my job to navigate the soirees and other distasteful social meetings by those who would maybe see my family do harm. And where my good wife would maybe take a more direct approach to a problem, I try to resolve things peacefully and creatively. So, I think we should take. I think we should take tea in the East Terrace. At which point, Kyron whispers into Glory's ear, "West Terrace, West Terrace."
How about the West Terrace instead? I
Oh,
did promise dinner, and they have a larger table there.
True, and you always did like the look of the fountain that's out of there. Of course. "We shall be dining in the West Terrace." He says it just aloud. There's no reaction, but he says it in a way that has some expectation. He says, "Please, come with me."
This way.
He leads you through one of the double doors and then down a corridor that's just down to the one side. And by the time you get to the West Terrace, which is a beautiful, large kind of... I was about to say conservatory. It's an atrium. Beautiful coloured glass above that casts the whole interior in a scattering of lights that kind of blends into each other. But all of the windows around the sides are perfectly clear. You're having trouble believing there's glass in them at all. They are so clear. That allows you to see straight through to this amazing garden. And the large...
anyone of... Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Does any of us walk into some glass that is like kind of like a glass door or something?
Thankfully, there's enough framing that kind of outlines that there should be glass there. And the fountain that he mentions is two dragons fighting. So it's a big set of statues of two dragons mid-fight, but instead of breathing fire or acid or whatever, they're spouting water over each other. And these dragons, you'd say for about probably a young dragon, it's about the right size. It's almost like they've petrified two dragons to do this. Whether or not they have, who knows? But there's two very lifelike looking stone dragons that are consistently breathing water on each other, and that is the fountain. And then they are both standing about ankle deep in a pool of crystal clear water with lily pads all around, and there's occasionally a flash of a silver fish about the size of a koi carp. And around you, for the rest of it, there seems to be a large green, like a lawn, on one side, and what looks to be the entrance of a maze. So a maze made out of trimmed bushes on the other side. Even though it's only just been said, "Oh, we're going to dine in the West Terrace," there's a full spread of food already laid out, and there's around about 12 servants here, and they're just all pristinely dressed. There's a mixture of half-orcs, drow, and tieflings for the most part. There is one human, a red-headed woman, and she's just standing to attention like the rest of them. And Nephir walks in and takes a seat at the table, not at the head of the table. He takes the seat just to the right of it and beckons you all to take other seats. This table is kind of a lower level table. It's like a very, very large coffee table rather than a full-on dining table. This is a place where you lounge and relax. And we talked about the breakfast table in a previous episode where Cora and Eclipse took a bite of everything.
Yes.
A similar type of spread, a cornucopia, is spread over the table of food and drink. And he nods to one of the servants, and they walk out of the room. They walk back in, and in tow they have a bard with a harp, and very light harp music is being played in the background.
The drow, are they mainly female or male? Because
There's a mixture.
That is so strange!
So there are 3 male drow here, and 1 heavily scarred female drow, as in it looks like her face has had an extensive amount of healing magic applied. You don't want to imagine what her face looked like before she received healing.
Yeah. I lean over to Glory and ask, is the female drow an assassin too?
You've never seen her before, Glory. You have no idea.
Who knows? Maybe. Doesn't really matter.
I'm as I sit down, I'm clutching my holy symbol, and I'm very, very softly mouthing the words. I'm ritually casting purify food and drink.
Yeah.
In a 5-foot radius of so I'm targeting it in the middle so I can get everybody's food that is around. Just because I'm like, I fucking move this fucking place.
Chiron insists on sitting on Glory's lap, and Nephir gestures for the wine to be served, and they bring forward a selection of things, and they silently go up to each of you, but they go to Glory first, and she points at the thing that she likes. They pour it out. Similarly, they go to the rest of you. If you ask them what the drinks are, they will tell you, but only if they're spoken to first, and you choose whatever drinks that you would like. And once
the
you
first
have
words out of my mouth are like, 8 minutes.
And Nephir, once you've got all your drinks, Nephir raises a glass of what seems to be this it's a crystal glass, and that tells you that where you are to start with, because most of the things you drink out of are metal goblets or wooden cups, depending on where you are. He raises this beautiful crystal glass that seems to have some sort of light, sparkling, light purple liquid, and he says, I propose and then there's this muffled boom from somewhere in the building, and then he looks at Chiron and goes, so that's why we weren't going to the East Terrace. And he goes, sorry.
Good
So-
boy. Well
What?
done.
What happened? I'm confused.
Chiron just puts his finger to his lips and looks at you dead in the eye, Eclipse, and just very slowly brings his finger up to his lips. Nephir just clears his throat, and he's kind of smiling, but in a way that shows that he's actively suppressing a smile whilst not suppressing a smile. Very complex body language here. And he says, "A toast to good friends."
Yes.
He takes a sip, lets out a very expressive sigh. This and you can see him just melt in the chair, and looks at each of you, with a great fondness, and says, "So, what's the next step for you all?"
About 6 minutes later, Farewell goes, "And now."
Farewell.
No reaction from Nefia. No reaction at all.
Well, I think our first order of business is to get away from here.
Of course. We'll be leaving pretty soon. We left quite a dire situation, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't pass up such an opportunity to go home and see my favorites. That she tickles Chiron in the side.
Yes, it's been great.
When you tickle Chiron, he kind of laughs, but he also kind of punches you in the arm and kind of goes, "Not in front of the others."
and Eclipses goes,
As your fingers come along, you notice that Chiron's skin starts to glow. You've seen Hellish Rebuke before, and as you put your hands in, you're like, "Nope, I'm going to get singed fur if I do this." And he looks at you sternly as if to say, "No, this is a me and Glory thing." That kind of eyebrows dipping in between that only a 5-year-old can do when they disapprove. And
Cora goes a bit quiet, watching the interaction between the two. She's just thinking about stuff.
Aww.
Nefia says, "It's true, you've left quite a situation back home. Even in my recent findings, I've noticed that there's machinations within machinations, and unfortunately, as much as you've made respectable headway into high society within Ostergald, I believe that you have only just got through the first door of that, and yet to be part of the greater machinations, to pierce the cabals, to penetrate the various groups that will undoubtedly be vying for control. And now you're closer to the crossfire. Opportunity goes up, but so does the danger."
At this moment, there will be a power imbalance, and the different parties within the city will grow, restless.
Indeed.
Question to all of us when we get back. Do we want to be honest with Renata, or do we...
Of course not.
I don't even want to see her. I mean...
We need to discuss that, yeah.
Yeah,
You will need to entreat with
not
her in
yet.
some fashion.
Oh god, yes.
Is that
Otherwise,
Simon
it
speaking
will
or
be
someone else?
extremely
Oh
suspicious.
no, this is Nefia.
Extremely suspicious. I have an idea of how to approach the subject. She is familiar with our family, so the idea that I was given a message just before we reached that place with an invitation to some form of festivities wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities.
I can certainly corroborate things our end. So you're saying that you came to Atal'Zaran immediately prior to the explosion, that you weren't there at all?
Ooh, that's
Can
the
we
good
get away
question.
with that? I messaged those
you
guards.
messaged someone that we found a place, so it would be that we nearly escaped the place, and in order to, rest up out of the danger zone, I brought us here.
Well, they know that we found the place, but then we can say that we left it directly afterwards when they told us to leave it.
Yeah, but what did I
And
say?
teleported.
I thought I said something that was basically
Yes,
raffles
you
and...
said something really suspicious. suspicious, so we'll have to. Well, we never said that anything was. Well, anything human was alive in there. They
I have a
wouldn't
proposition.
Be...
I have a proposition. You can say that you were about to investigate this, whatever it is that Cora sent the message about. And as you did so, you were suddenly all teleported to Atal'Zaran to defend your family, Glory. And that a person called Vizier Coltran was responsible for the attack on the family, that we needed all the help that we could get, and so you were quite rudely, but we have apologized with great reward, came to our aid, and that you took the Braggart down.
Now that is a plan.
Is Vizier Coltran a real person or just a name you made up?
Oh, quite real, yes. Yeah, but it's and quite a bane to our family. He is favoured by Freynia, but not so much that he is not eliminated from being a victim of the game. And I'm pretty sure that I can clear this past the family. We've wanted an excuse to get rid of him for some time.
So wait, he's alive and you want us to get rid of him? For real?
Voras, is he alive? Oh, he was up until recently alive.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's nice.
We shall arrange for some form of evidence of his demise to be made available to you. We shall send it along before you are due to leave.
Perfect.
I do still think we need to have some more to say about the facility, what we were planning to do, what we think happened, what we found out.
We
She's gonna
found
ask
abominations,
everything.
we found demons, and we were trying to see if there was anything alive when
But she knows
when we
that,
were
right?
plucked out.
Well, the thing is,
she's
she
behind
doesn't.
it all.
She doesn't know that we actually entered the facility. We know that
She
knows
knows that we found it.
She knows that we found it. But if we were teleported right after our conversation, then we never had a chance to enter it.
What? I mean, we have no idea if any... Like, no one in theory survived, but we don't know that. But could we say that we investigated, we found this place, but the place was ticking a ticking time bomb, like that it was destroying itself. So we were trying to get out and then were teleported away, which actually saved our lives because the place then went up. Or something.
From
Can we
around
link
your
the
neck,
two?
Glory, your serpent says, Mistress, you could say that the Slard that were guarding the front entrance were too much of a match. They were a formidable defense.
Of course, that's a good idea. The Slod, we never killed all of them. They were simply too much, and we tried to use the carpet to get away just after your message.
And then after that, if she investigates as to how the thing exploded, well, there will be a lot of demons in the wreckage. Self-explanatory, no?
Mm-hmm. Well, the explosion itself, we don't need to explain away. After all, they're demons. They were a lot of demons, and there should be some residue.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of all the questions she might ask. It's been a couple of days. Why haven't we reported in?
Because we're on this other side of the planet. And any message we were to send would arrive later than we would.
Do you
If you wish.
Yeah.
I suppose if we
If
don't
you wish,
know the
we
place
can
exploded.
send a message saying that you have arrived mildly injured, but otherwise alive, and that we are able to... that we will be aiding your recovery, and that you shall return post haste.
Sounds very good. I like that.
If she asks about if we discovered anything about our memories, because we were investigating that, and she was claiming to not know anything about that, but we're pretty sure she knows that we had our memories wiped, right? She must.
No,
She doesn't necessarily know how they did it. She might suspect that it was because of the facility, but...
She knows.
But it was her facility. And we must have been playing havoc with it, and so she probably ordered our memories wiped.
Well, according to the guy we found there, Renata had visited previously before we arrived, so she didn't necessarily know we were there at all because it's shielded from scrying as well.
Sure, but she must have ordered it, and if she didn't order it, she still would know what happened, because she would have been told. They were above us. They had the gold stamps. So we're saying that we don't know what happened. So we still don't understand what our memories, but we're just gonna deal with it.
We know how they did that. Yeah.
I know we know that, but do we tell her that? Because if we tell her that, we know she's in on it.
We should walk into any conversation assuming that she knows the truth.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then deceive her out of the premise that we don't know yet. We might suspect the Mind Flayer was to blame, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was on hers. What we need to do is deceive the deceiver. And besides, she has her hands full with the debt collectors right now. She won't have too much brain space to spend on us.
Nafia smirks. Debt collectors?
Oh yes, one of my lovely ladies was able to look into it this morning. She's currently being hounded for the cost of the facility. They want a new one.
I was going to mention that before when you said that there would be power shifting. This explosion that I've heard of, I'm sure, will have a lot of people pointing fingers and casting blame. It's a perfect time to harvest new allies. They'll be trying to resecure their position, make themselves safe. It's the perfect time. It's why you need to return and soon, before everybody starts to establish their various cliques.
Yes, we need to establish ourselves as a force to be reckoned with. We already had the head start.
Indeed. And you can choose to either get in deeper with Renata, saying that you will defend her to the hilt to these terrible, terrible people who are wrongfully accusing her, or have the audacity to accuse your beloved leader. Or you can start shopping elsewhere. I'm terribly sorry to have to change this way, but when I talk about politics and defending my family, I can have a little bit of a ruthless edge. But as he says that, the playfulness of him comes back when he says ruthless edge, and he kind of gives you a smirk that makes you have this warm feeling, and you're like, he's such a protective dad, isn't he cute?
He's so
kind
cute.
of thing, you know. And
He knows what he's doing.
With the exception of Farewell, who completely resisted when he did the first impression spell. And Farewell's like, yeah, you're still weird. But yes, Cora and Eclipse are like, oh, he's so protective, isn't he a nice guy? You know, kind of thing. He's continuing to be in your good books at the moment, unless he says something that's directly against your character. And he's trying to defend you as well, so double win for him. You know, it's like, you know, you can't find anything wrong with him at present. So, it sounds like you've already given this some thought, and some excellent ideas, Cora, and that shows a shrewd mind. And I'm glad, again, that you're helping my daughter in this way. So, tell me a little about yourselves. I mean, you you come together under the strangest of circumstances, and you haven't been together very long, and yet you are as close as if, I don't know, some form of family. Tell me, what do you think makes you tick as a group?
Constant danger.
The desire not to be horribly murdered.
We have fun.
There are a few people in this world, it seems, that you can trust, and so when you find a small group of them, you try and, get along. Family's important.
You've just said what I'm sure would be the manual for surviving in Atal'Zaran, Cora. That's exactly what we do. Some people frown on us for drawing our various lines and for some of our practices, but that's exactly what it's for. We band together and we survive. It's a cruel world out there, but we show tenderness, and you can see you've got Chiron kind of burying his head in Glory's shoulder and just kind of chilling out and listening to you talk. And he kind of nods in that direction to show the tenderness between those two.
I mean, we were all housed together really by Renata, and now we are at a point where we need to decide what to do, if we want to pursue and find out what's going on within the city and keep together as a group, or go our separate ways and pursue our goals that way.
Well, if I know Grandfather, he will be collecting as much information on that as possible, usually through insight. But I think it's good that you have an idea of where you want to go from here, but stick close to your allies. You move in dangerous circles these days. When you are, and I do not mean this as an insult, when you're one of the small folk, as I once was, life has hardships, but those hardships are so simple. The next loaf of bread, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back, a coin in your pocket. Those things seem so simple when you're just working day to day. As you enter the upper echelons of society, as each individual becomes more greedy, more selfish, more dangerous, that's when you really do need your friends. Stay together, do not stray, have common purpose and total honesty with each other, and you will be as successful as we are. The one thing that our family works on is complete honesty, with each other at least. Honesty is a thing that is earned. Anyway,
this is
please.
really
eat.
not how I thought this conversation was going to go.
How so, Farewell?
Yeah. I'm at a loss. I'm genuinely at a loss. I actually don't know what to do. Or
In
what
what
to
way?
say, or what...
Oh, you can relax. Father isn't like the rest of the people here. After all, he was an outsider from the beginning.
Well, he's actually not treated us like dirt, so that's an improvement.
It's not my way. I have a tactical streak for those who had hurt those I love, and for those that I identify as friends and allies. But that's me not being a victim. I prefer to live a life without cruelty.
I think you got your slightly. I think you got your nice side from this one, Glory.
Oh, I definitely did.
He grins, this warm grin that just makes you have this fluttering tummy, and he says, It's me refusing to live in the world that they present, and producing the world I want around me. That is my success.
So you're not. I'm sorry if this is too much, but you're not 1,000% happy with this place.
He looks around confused as if to say, "This house is amazing."
No, not your house.
Is this really the conversation we should be having?
I confess I'm a little confused.
I think she's trying to ascertain whether or not you agree with your society. Eclipse, like me and Cora, we come from a very different kind of world. There is not the same level of open cruelty as there can be here, yet you don't see it the same way that we do.
Yes, I would find your society incredibly exhausting. Not knowing where your danger's coming from. We have danger behind smiles here, but there's a rule set that we follow. There are people in your society who are an unchecked evil, a chaotic element that I just don't know what I'd be able to do with them. I don't know how I'd defend myself. Here, at least, there's a set of rules that I can defend my family from. You know, we openly encourage in the society, and this is not me defending the society, Eclipse. It's just I'm explaining the philosophy here, that if you bear any rage or darkness against others, there's a way of expressing it, a way of acting on it. There are times when you do things and times when you definitely do not do things. Whereas everyone's just free to mill about, some like sheep and others wolves trying to slaughter them. No, the sheep don't know the lambs. The lambs don't know the wolves, and they don't know how the wolves hunt. Here, everybody knows how the wolves hunt. And you can choose to be a lamb or you can choose to be a rock, as I once was. Neither hurt nor hunted, but still potentially collateral damage, but there were ways of avoiding that. I was a servant for a few years and made sure that I knew how this high society worked. It served me very, very well, because when I fell in love, and she with me, with my fury, I had some insight on how to survive here.
To be honest, I'm sometimes wondering how different these societies really are. The people at the top have everything and the people at the bottom have nothing.
Yeah,
It seems the
I'm
world
gonna say
over.
You're not that different.
That's what the great Ioun would say is a universal truth, Cora. Greed is everywhere. Malice is everywhere. It's only those who have humility and purpose in their hearts that are able to maintain that essential part of themselves whilst they live through the various travails of existence. Once again, I am no victim, but that doesn't necessarily have to mean that I become someone that I despise.
We do have less public torture and less slavery, but yes.
So you're saying that the torture and slavery that you have is behind closed doors, that it's unregulated by any form of law?
And this is why we do not discuss politics at the dinner table, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed.
I do think we are boring the little one. He's falling asleep here.
This is true. He's drooling a bit on your shoulder. He woke up a little bit when he heard about torture, but when he realised there wasn't any happening, he got bored again and fell asleep. Either way, it brings me great pleasure that you are here. I was going to say that we don't have visitors. We have visitors all the time. But we don't have visitors of your caliber. You pleasure me.
Okay.
You pleasure me too.
Okay.
And as much as Simon's smiling, Nefia says it with a dead straight face. Absolute, solemn statement. Please.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Could we have somewhere to just talk and chill out? I could really use a chance to get out of all of this armor.
Where
And
am
I
I?
yes.
wonder what's going on with them.
When you say I need to get out of this armor, Nefia raises an eyebrow, but then after that he says, "Of course, where are my manners? You've been on the road for so long. You've had quite an eventful day by the sounds of it. The gossip has reached me already. See them to their rooms." And you all get taken to the one of the guest wings, one of the many guest wings. Glory, you as you get up and you go to walk away, these vice-like grip of these little arms hang around your neck. You realise that you're not going anywhere without him.
Oh, Glory, I forgot to ask. What's a Gensi?
Oh, it's my name
Oh,
in Infernal.
okay.
It's pronounced differently.
Oh, okay,
He
sorry.
hasn't quite gotten the common yet. It's
Oh.
well, it's his third language, so it's taken time.
Yeah. So
Impressive.
Ganesh is the infernal for Glory.
Okay.
So you haven't found her old name. What he said as he was running up, he was saying it in infernal.
Yes, Ganesh. Yes. Okay. I was confused.
Yeah, it's a Coatl tradition. We learn Draconic first, then Infernal, and then Common.
Oh.
It's why I sometimes
Oh.
have a bit of trouble with it, because, there's so many words for the same thing.
Oh God! If ever you wanted to draw a parallel between English and Common, yeah.
Yeah. You should try Primordial. That's.
Mm.
Although I don't think you're capable of doing the.
Nah,
the
but I don't think you could really do Draconic either. The growling, it takes skill.
Yeah, I don't have the.
I can speak Undercommon. I say, hello, my name is Eclipse to one of the drow servants.
The drow don't move, but then in perfect Undercommon, Nefia turns around to you and says, "Don't be offended, Eclipse. That's their way. They choose to work here, but they don't like to be involved in the politics. It's again their way of being safe. If they talk to you, they're being political. They can't help it. You are a political person while you're here. They choose to remain outside of that. They will answer any direct questions with regard to their service, but they will not talk to you otherwise because they do not want to be in danger."
Yes. I'm still curious why there's so many drow here.
We have 2 drow cities under Atal'Zaran. One of them came here by choice. One of them has been here for thousands upon thousands of years. There's, I believe, a temple to Lolth beneath the city. It's somewhere in the Underdark beneath us. But yes, we get a lot of outcasts, and when he says outcast, he switches to common again.
Yeah.
And he says, and he says at the beginning of the sentence. So in common, he says, "We get a lot of outcasts here, people who have been, for the most part, done wrong by society. Others who are coming here after they've made a mistake and want a second chance. Our society allows, by the sets of rules, that if you walk in here, if you join our society, it's a clean slate, as long as you obey our laws. We don't care what you've done before, within reason, as long as you don't do it here. Everybody's allowed a fresh start. Let's face it, it's a dangerous world. Who doesn't want to have a second chance?"
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So, Mr. Farewell wants to get out of his armor. So, I think it's time that you went and enjoyed the guest wing. Glory, will you be staying with them, or will you just be visiting them from your room?
I'll be visiting them from my room.
Okay.
I
Well.
do miss my small library. There are a few things I need to look up while I'm here. Oh, farewell. You should see some of the books I have. Mother has collected them during her travels, and they're ancient. Like, I don't know where she's found them, but I've been deciphering one of them since I was 9.
Glory, how small is small?
How big is the tavern?
Again, yes, Glory. Definitions, perspective, contrast.
Yes, she's just told you that her library is the same size as the tavern.
Yes, that's why
Yeah.
she's saying, like, Glory, that's not small.
So, Nefia kind of turns to Chiron and says, Luchtir, which is little terror in Draconic. No, little terror would be something Bach in Welsh. I don't actually know what terror is in Welsh. I need to look that up. And so he says, Luchtir, make sure that you're not in Glory's room when she wants to have company. Other than that, I'm sure that he won't be leaving your side. Get ready for him wriggling in the bed, and he kind of looks admonishingly to Chiron, and Chiron kind of smiles this mischievous little grin.
Good boy.
And then in Infernal, Nefia says to Glory, seriously, I woke up the other day and he had his big toe up my nose.
Oh, they're so precious.
Anyway, you have much to discuss, I'm sure. Unless there's any more questions for me, please enjoy our home. You are our friends and our allies.
I'm sorry if this is too much of a personal question, but will Chiron get a virtue name as well, eventually?
Yes. Yes, we all will.
Uh.
And anyone who has heard his previous name will forget it overnight.
Huh. Okay. I like Chiron, though. It's a very nice name.
Well, once he gets his glory name, after he's gone through the ritual, and you can see that Chiron looks a bit serious at this point, neither scared nor excited, just solemn. Once he goes through the ritual, he will be someone else. And Chiron kind of looks resolute at this point, as if he's already decided who that person is.
No.
Yes.
The will of a 6-year-old, says back to a 6-year-old.
He has his life in order. He knows exactly what's gonna happen.
Much like my daughter, she's got it all planned out at 6 years old. So,
Is it worth taking a break at this point, or do we want to get to
I
another
think
point?
that's probably for the best. So as you guys head off to the incredibly lavish guest wing, we're going to go for a break. See you on the other side. And welcome back. So, our players are going to the guest wing, or one of the guest wings, of this huge, lavish mansion owned by the Coatl family. A family that is absolutely not an aristocratic or nobility family. No, not at all. They just... Yeah, they are. You step into some rooms which you can see that it says ambassadorial wing, and you're led into there, and then it sets off into other different areas and other different corridors, and eventually you're given a suite of around about 10 to 12 rooms, including a communal lounge, and there's a small servants' quarters off to one side. But seeing as you have not brought any servants of your own, it's just you.
So over there is the servants' quarters, but we don't have any with us, so don't bother. And then you can just pick one of those rooms. They're pretty equal. If you want food, just say it out loud and someone will bring it.
Wow.
How much are they listening to our conversation?
Oh, nothing. It's magic. I'm not quite sure how it works. They can't listen into what we say, but when we say that we want something such as, well, common house things that like, oh, I want some tea, then they will bring it. It's an ancient spell, I think.
Will they bring tea now? Because you said...
It has to do with intent, sweetheart. Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird, but either way, they can't listen in here. To be honest, this building is more secure than the one in Sanya because not even Auntie can look in here.
Eowyn, perched on Cora's shoulder, goes, "Well, thank God it has to be intent. Can you imagine what would happen if someone said, 'fuck me'?"
And I reply, and that probably gets
Only
said
Cora
a lot.
can hear this.
Yeah, no, but I reply in my head, it's like, well, that probably gets said intentionally as well.
Can you imagine? I mean, how would they know what you were into? Oh, never mind, I don't want to think about it. He flips off your shoulder and onto a coffee table, and kind of takes a bunch of little kind of potpourri pieces and starts making herself a little chair. So, yeah.
Pardon me.
Okay. What time is it out of interest, Simon? Roughly?
It is getting quite late. It's about 8 p.m.
Okay.
We
been
just
a full
had
day.
dinner. We've been running around the cities. It's been a good day, basically.
Are we thinking of heading back tomorrow? Is that the plan?
Well, we kind of have to because Farewell promised the ideal that we would.
Well,
Oh,
it seemed
yeah.
like...
But, well, it's more of a courtesy thing, Eclipse. So, because, Ambassador Barebones said that we would leave at the latest tomorrow, then we kind of have to. But, because you have managed to gain grandfather's approval, we can quite easily come back whenever we want to.
Do we have to... Yes, I just...
But since we got the fittings earlier, I was thinking about sending out a few servants to collect some odds and ends. After all, Angler looks all of you up and down like we might need some more fashion.
I'm not wearing a growling suit.
Oh, don't worry.
I want to wear something nice.
Of course.
The good thing about a growling suit is you can trade it in for interesting items.
Oh,
That is
yes.
true. Oh, Farewell. We went to this, it's basically a pawn shop. He buys basically anything if it's interesting enough. It's one of Mother's favorite places to load off. But we traded this suit for, Eclipse's new toy. How is that one working out? Have you used it yet?
I cast Fireball on it with it.
Nice.
Inubliet.
Oh.
Oh.
I wondered why you had a slightly singed tail.
Can I...
Yeah, I'm calling it up as we speak.
And something absolutely amazing happened when I did it as well, because I got the you were stunned for 1 round, and you believe something awesome happened, and Renata appeared for me for 1 second, then she disappeared, and she looked very confused. So I'm not sure what happened there.
Okay, I'm confused too, but that is all right.
I think that was an illusion.
I just start doing like a concussion test on like Eclipse. I'm just like Glory. It's alright. I'll look at it. And I'm just like looking in her eyes. I'm just like checking in the inside of her ears just to see if she's like.
She looks slightly dazed. You can tell that she's probably not telling like
the entire truth.
Yeah.
Just checking her head over for like bumps or cuts, because I've seen.
But it's awesome. Look.
Okay. What point are you choosing?
Well, it's a D10. It's a D100.
No, but it.
Where
like
are you pointing it?
You pointed at a point.
Yeah, I will point it at an empty space, which is far away from us. So if it's a fireball, we don't have to.
Sure. There's a small bard stage here, where the performer would normally be, and yeah, you just idly flick the wand in that direction.
Okay.
I'm gonna need to save that.
Equipment. What is this?
So, what number did you get? I've got it here.
Yeah, 67. You shrink yourself if you had cast /reduce on yourself.
Okay, so there's you're arcane trained, and so is Glory.
Yeah.
So Glory watches as you pull out this wand, and as you kind of flick it, Glory watches to see whether the house's counterspell enchantment goes off to cancel her spell, being that you are not permitted to cast aggressive spells in this area. And when the effect targets you instead of the house, the counterspell defense doesn't even bother trying. And now, because it's kind of intelligent on that, casting things on yourself, no problem. Casting aggressive spells, the house's defense system goes off. So you got lucky, because otherwise it's like, excuse me, why did you try to blow up my house? And you watch as Eclipse goes down to the same size as Cora, size small.
I look very cute.
Little kitty.
Hey, this is weird.
That.
I can actually look in your eyes. This is cool.
Kyron
Do that on
jumps
everyone
off.
else.
Kyron jumps off Glory's lap, runs up to Eclipse and goes, "She's so cute!" And he picks you up like a cuddly toy and starts hugging you so hard that you're actually grappled right now.
I hug him back and purr.
He's incredibly amused by this.
Yeah, we got a few things. I got this. I got this earring. Kind of cool. I can see in the dark a bit better now. That's cool.
Yes.
That's useful.
Yeah.
The
I
one
was
item that
kinda
Simon
looking
didn't
for
write down in his
useful.
notes, the damned earring of
Yeah.
ducks.
Well, I wrote. I mean, it's on D&D Beyond. I've just put this, just the goggles at night, because that was what it was.
Yeah.
I just
Earring of
skinned
night,
it.
yeah.
And I got this. Does anyone mind if we try it? I pull out the rust bag of tricks.
I don't think it would be a good idea to pull out the lion.
Well, I don't think I have a
Poor Phil
choice.
has no idea.
Try it. I think Kyron wants to see it.
Kyron's
It'll be friendly.
Kyron's holding Eclipse up like a little cat. You say the word lion, he's like, Please!
I have no idea.
Please!
Roll it! Roll it!
Oh, it's a rat.
Yeah. He sees so for Farewell's benefit, you watch as your friend pulls out the third and final fuzzy ball of today.
You're right. Was it today? Was this today?
Yes.
I haven't marked off. Okay, I'll mark off all those charges then.
Yeah, that's why it's 8 p.m. That's why it's 8 p.m. is that you did all this shit today. So you pull out this little fuzzy ball and you throw it at the floor, and it again I gave the graphics before. It's like apparition in Harry Potter. This thing kind of spins a little bit, and it turns into a little rat, nice little rat, that then comes up and starts to sniff at Cora.
Got a rat last time.
Yes.
Maybe it's always a rat.
You can try again tomorrow, Kyron. Maybe you'll get a lion.
Yes, it was a lion for the goblin earlier.
Yeah, he walks up and without a moment's hesitation, still holding on to Eclipse. He's a strong little boy, but still holding on to Eclipse. He goes up and picks up the rat by the neck. The rat kind of skitters around a bit, but he's not kind of crushing it or anything. He just picks it up so confidently that the rat kind of kicks its legs a little bit in surprise. But then when it's clear that Kyron's not going to hurt it, he goes, "Hello, rat." It doesn't talk like you.
No.
No.
No. I talk.
Eclipse is very special.
You just got this 6-year-old with this, miniaturized tabaxi and a rat, and he's thinking, best day ever.
We are making the 6-year-old's day.
He goes over to a fruit bowl, because there's all these kind of things around here. He picks some grapes and things and comes back and starts feeding the rat. The rat starts heartily chewing down on grapes.
How long did the animals last for? Did you figure that out?
I think it's like a day until next dawn or something like that.
That's a good point. Do I have a rat already following me?
So, narratively, as she says that, Cora goes, "Oh yeah," reaches into a bag and pulls out a second rat.
Yeah, I still have the rat. Sorry,
And Tuck. Don't
Tuck.
forget Tuck.
Tuck's the real one though. He's just bigger. And I just stick one rat on each shoulder.
Kyron goes off, grabs the entire bunch of grapes, and is now manically feeding both rats. And when Tuck pokes his head out of the little shell on your belt, he's feeding the dormouse and the 2 rats now. And that's it. This is him now. This is his life.
Yeah.
I'm a zoo.
So many animals that are not snakes. He's not used to this.
And for the players only, yes, in the bazaar that you went to, the curiosity shop that you went to, there is currently a lion being best cat, just sat there in a corner, being a well-behaved cat.
Wasn't the goblin really scared of it too? So it's just like,
Oh, he was terrified. That's why it's being best cat at the moment. Is that he's like, he willed it to sit in the corner and be a good cat, and that's what it's doing. It's like, I'm a good cat, and that it's been like that for the last 6 hours or so.
Yeah, the creature vanishes at the next dawn. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Okay. So yes, you know that you're safe to talk here about any subject that you'd like.
Yeah.
So if you want to do any machinations amongst yourself away from Nephir, this is the place to do it.
Cora, didn't you say you had something you wanted to talk about this morning?
Well, yeah, and then Mr. Farewell wasn't here, was he? So, yes, I'm coming back to that. You went away without us. Did you go and get armor on your own, by the way?
Did you at least consider the style options I told you?
I'm not really sure if I should be answering any questions now.
You have the right to remain silent.
Hey, in this society, if you're asked a question, you have to answer.
Well,
This is totally not how I saw this day going. I mean, I don't understand why everybody's suddenly angry at me when I'm not the one that ended up in prison. I had a very nice day shopping that was very unstressful and quite pleasant.
That's why we're angry with you.
I even made a friend.
That's what you made a friend.
oh, we had a lovely day too. Until the Eclipse incident, but that is fine. Everything's
I would like to
going
I would like petition to call it the Hope Incident.
Well, we have
I
hope.
see what-
Yeah.
well.
I
Okay.
still don't understand why I'm the one in trouble.
Because you just said because you had a nice day and we got in trouble. Anyways,
But why am I in trouble?
because you left.
See, sweetheart, this
Because
is why
it's
you
your-
cause trouble, not have trouble. Mhm.
Because you were not there to help us, and so we got ourselves into trouble, and it's your fault because you were not there.
I don't think you really have a leg to stand on in this conversation. Especially
Yeah.
considering that I had to give an ancient dragon an incredibly evil demonic sword to get you out of prison or stop you being executed.
Kyron has a
No.
look of absolute respect and awe. When you say that, he's looking at you as if you're some kind of god.
Oh yes.
You just told him that you gave his dragon, his grandfather, demonic sword, and he's just like, wow, you're so cool. But he's not saying anything. He's just there petting a rat that's eating a grape and looking in a general direction with a total fanboy look on his face.
Is he still carrying me? Am I still like in his grip?
Oh no, he dropped you when he got the rats.
Yeah, he could feed the rats. That was it. He left you to your own devices now.
Okay.
Do you know what? I cannot take you seriously in this form. And I cast Dispel Magic on the clip. I just can't even look at her through the whole thing.
Oh, wait. That target's another person.
It's a beneficial act. So
Okay.
that's one of those few spells where it can be used aggressively or it can be used well because it's down to intention. And as you say, this house has an empathy circuit effectively in it.
Yep.
It knows that he's helping her, so and that she can sense on a subconscious level, so it's allowed.
Better.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't want to be rude, but I would really like to have a conversation with you all, not in the presence of the deeply influential 6-year-old child.
That's gonna be a problem. I don't think he's gonna leave. Besides, he only understands about half of what we say.
Yeah, he's gonna turn into a glory not long from now. I don't know. Kids remember.
Besides, which spell did you use to blow up the East Wing? Was it the one from book number 7?
Yeah, it was the Waiting Ward. Yeah, the chapter called The Waiting Ward, and I couldn't get it to blow up, so I got some gunpowder.
Smart.
Farewell just goes and looks at a room and just starts walking towards it. It's just gotten to that point of just, and like you can just hear, all you can hear is this sound of like rushing water as he's just shaking his head and like undoing parts of his armor and just like loosening them all off, and he's trying to get out the belt buckles, and it's like this torrent, this absolute unbelievable torrent of water that is just like flushing from his direction.
Oh.
I think because didn't your dad say that if you were to have company that Kyron should leave you for a little bit?
Kyron looks really kind of down and goes, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to have some girls coming. I've got to go and do my homework. Can I come back later when you're finished?"
Yes, of course.
Okay.
He's 6! Goes into a room.
he goes, well, that's the thing. Kyron knows that he has to leave when the girls come round. He doesn't know what she does with the girls.
Don't
Well,
worry,
that's
Farewell.
not the context.
And he says, when the servants come to change the sheets, I'll know to come back. I'll see you later, Glory. And he goes up and gives her a kiss on the cheek and runs away.
He'll be up to some mischief, I'm sure.
Once again,
How likely is it that we're gonna get exploded by gunpowder because your little
Rascal.
brother decides to? It'll be fun to do.
Oh, don't worry. It's harmless. It'll be cleaned up by tomorrow morning anyways. It's nothing worse than what I did. I actually got the rune to explode when I was his age.
Okay, great. Like this.
you have a feeling the fact that
so
she once
much
blew
less
something
safe.
up at the age of 6 is why he's done it.
Okay.
Okay, let's speak with Farewell. Let's go follow Farewell.
So it kind of
Okay,
is walking off his
we cut to Farewell in his room, taking off his armor, and then a mob of 3 women just walk straight in on you.
You know, in any other circumstance, that would just be like somebody's Christmas. right now, he's just staring at the bed, and he's just throwing bits of armor onto the bed.
Eclipses uses the mage hand to help you.
Yep. And I would like to point out that as far as Chiron's concerned, that the reason that they change Glory's sheets after her friends have gone are the same reason they have to change his sheets once his friends are gone, and that is chocolate and crisps get everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The wisdom of the 6-year-old.
Yep. Don't worry, Farewell. He doesn't know what it entails. He just knows that he's not allowed in the rooms.
Yeah, when the grown-up friends are, doing grown-up friend stuff, yeah.
It's pretty simple. Like, not to walk into...
Please stop talking. Please.
Okay.
Just stop.
Fine.
Okay, Cora. You can finally speak there.
Okay. Okay.
Hold on.
What this?
I go over to the door, and I just go and I sit down, and I cast detect magic.
There is magic on every surface, in every surface. It's mostly abjuration. Protective spells.
Oh, that's something at least. Just, what is it with you people? Why can't you just have a room? I miss my caravan.
This is a room.
I really miss my caravan.
Oh, we'll grab it. Ooh, maybe I should look into getting a folding caravan. That way you can carry it around in your bag.
Like the folding boat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can become pirates.
That really is, like, super tempting.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, to just fuck it, we're now pirates.
Could we see the sea from any of the cities that we've been in here?
No, because I think the closest...
So we
It
don't
says
It's
quickly
the
French.
harbor, and
Yes, the
that...
harbour. You haven't been there.
No. Like, theoretically, if you're on the right side of Coatl, you can see
Yeah, 'cause
it
it's quite
in
high
the
up, isn't it?
distance.
Yeah.
Because Coatl is at the highest elevation. But otherwise, no, you won't be able to see Awick.
No, I just wondered if we. I guess because Ostergald is on the sea and various things. But
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, well,
don't worry.
We might have to take that as an option if we're chased out of the city. What's our plan? Are we planning to bamf straight back into the thick of it, or could we?
Well,
sneak
yes.
in,
If
or...
this plan is going to work, Father's Connection will make sure that this end sounds fine. And then if you let me speak, I'll be able to spin the story so that Renata won't look too much into it. Like, she look into it, find the clues left behind from father, and will be on the safe side because she'll be too busy with the politics.
So are we?
We hope.
Are we still gonna pretend to be on Renata's side?
I
And
would suggest
think
so,
that's the
as
plan.
it is our best chances finding what is going on. After all, if she has been funding this institute, it means that she has access to all the research and the other potential facilities.
yes.
By staying in her good books, it opens up enough doors to get in and blow up the rest, if there are any.
Yeah, we can gain a lot of information by staying with her. Mhm.
Not that I trust her a word, but, it's not like I have so far.
True.
Everyone has their gains.
I'm not sure, and I dig into my bag because I probably have hidden it in there, but like grab out the symbol and be like, I'm not sure how much I trust using these anymore. Or at least not unless we're officially doing something that we want her to hear. Even if we think she can't hear.
We couldn't. We're too out of range to contact her anyway, because we couldn't hear.
But that doesn't mean that the symbols themselves aren't, collecting the things being spoken through them.
Yeah, we have no idea.
It will be a concerning hypothesis if it turns out to be true. But we've had the unfortunate habit of speaking the most crucial information out loud, so...
Well,
I'm not too worried.
So. I don't think so, because there's a lot of information that has been missed, that if these things collected the information spoken through them, they could have been heard. So I don't think the evidence we have that they don't collect the information, and we're too out of range for her to hear anything at the moment.
Yeah, it's just going to be interest. We're just going to have to be careful because we need them. We can't just get rid of them if we're still working for her. And yet, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything that can silence them, or I don't know. Anyway, it's a thought. Anyways, so that's a tomorrow thing. So okay, fine. Eclipse seems like really keen for me to try. Is this definitely a good place to talk? I mean, nowhere feels a good place to talk. We going back to
nowhere is a good.
That won't
nowhere
be a good place.
Very,
as far
very
as
accurate. But this is probably the closest we can come to safe in the entire world. After all,
as far as I can tell, the magic that's around us, none of it is for listening. It's for protecting.
Okay.
Indeed it is. We take care of our guests. Oh, and let me see here. And Glory takes out a piece of paper and she basically scribbles a map onto it. So, this is the route you need to take if you're gonna find my room. Or, well, my wing to be exact. And my room is in the corner looking out over the garden. So, if you take that left and right, and well,
why did you ever leave?
Yeah, I mean, you're rich.
you realize how
powerful.
Yes. My family is powerful and they have reputation. No matter what I do here, I will be compared to either Auntie Inside or my mother. You heard the ideal. I was supposed to be just like Mother, take after her, and then I became an Inside's apprentice, and then I was supposed to be like her. I just want to be myself. I want to make something for myself. And I can't do that here.
And they're okay with that? It feels like they would want you to be here doing thing and not escaping your responsibilities?
Well, no. In the beginning it was more of they saw it as a learning experience, seeing the world before I tied myself down and all of that. It's a journey similar to what Eclipse is on. Many of our people travel during their youth. Take Excellence for example. He's currently down in the Underdark doing some stuff. And then
still has time to send assassins to us, yes.
Of course. Of course he does. And then there's Mother. I mean, she picked up Father during one of her travels.
Yes.
It's quite romantic, really. I mean, there he was, trying to steal her purse and succeeding in running away. And then she chases after him, beats him black and blue, and carries his unconscious behind onto the ship. True love.
No.
Wow. He seems okay with
so
it.
And anyway, we were talking about Cora. Sorry.
Is this just so that we don't have to address the fact that you almost got yourself executed?
It does seem that
No.
way.
We're talking about Cora. Let's talk about
We're
Cora.
obviously not talking about the fact that, you know, up until now you've been, and I can't believe I'm saying this, relatively sensible. And like 24 hours here and you're challenging Inquisitors to fight you in the street.
I'm not.
Technically, she was challenging her inside a tea parlor, but all the same.
Well, I kind of figured that you know, they go out into the street. You know, traditionally duels are usually done out in the street. You remember Iden back in Ostergald? You know, they went and had that big square. I figured something like
that was
would be
impressive.
happening, you know.
I still wish they.
I'm getting
Oh,
off
so
the
you're
point.
not
I mean,
the first person to get themselves into a fight. That makes okay. Who's next? I wonder.
I did not get into a fight.
No, Aiden did.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm just
I have not
remembering.
gotten myself into a fight.
No,
But
you
you
just
were
got
his
yourself
second, so you
almost
were
killed
almost
instantly
in
in
the
the
fight.
first day.
And I was no one. How is this about me again?
No, it's fine. Actually, that reminds me of something else that I bought. Look, and I pull out the restorative ointment.
Oh, you picked up one of those.
Yeah, well, cause this one's, you know, great at healing, but what if he goes down? And last time I just stuck my fingers
that
everywhere.
does
It was
remind me.
weird.
Farewell. I got you some jewelry. Here.
Okay, one at a time. This is real sensory overload. And he just holds his hand out, and he's suddenly got, I assume, 2 rings in his hand, and in his other hand, a glass jar.
I'm holding the glass jar. I'm just showing. Yeah.
She's showing you.
As to answer to your question, Farewell, of why I reacted so strongly, is because Glory's friend was performing public torture, which I'm not in the habit of seeing or experiencing, especially if someone who are a friend considers a friend.
Yeah. It doesn't happen that often. Maybe once or twice a year. But there's always some idiot trying to erase a cult for Bahamut. Like, you really think you can do that here? And then the priestesses have to deal with it and, you know, setting an example for the next one, so maybe they'll think the right way instead of doing something so stupid.
So
You
just
know?
to specify, this guy that they executed was not trying to raise a cult of Bahamut. What Hope was trying to say before is that it was an evil cult. It just wasn't the right evil cult.
Well, I heard raising a cult for another dragon, and I just
Yeah.
assumed the Bahamut.
This is for a minor evil dragon deity, and yeah, she wasn't having any of it. But yes, the rings you have in your hand, Farewell, you take a look, and they have arcane runes on them. You recognize them. One is a ring of acid resistance, and the next one is
Immunity. We said
sorry.
immunity.
Sorry, acid immunity. Yeah,
And fire immunity.
and fire immunity.
Oh, thank you.
Dare to compliment the brooch to make sure that you don't get hurt standing in the front when me and Cora are doing our thing.
I'm a little worried that we've gone for immolation and being dissolved as the two things that I'm going to be experiencing an awful lot.
Well, it's a bit hard trying to kill the stuff that's basically on top of you. We noticed it down there when you were fighting the demons. I did. So I decided to fix the issue by making sure that you don't die when we try to kill the things killing you.
Okay. This is really not the way I saw today going.
How did you
farewell.
see today going?
To be honest with you, a lot more. Oh, hello, Farewell. How are you? Oh, very well, thank you. Did you have a wonderful morning out? I did, thank you.
Do
It was
you
very,
know?
very nice.
Do you know us at all?
Oh dear. Farewell, just briefly so that we can get past this point. You do notice, you recognise the restorative ointment that's in Cora's hands. It's something that you've seen in the temple quite a lot. It's not the cheapest thing, but it's basically an ointment that you can put on there, and it'll remove certain effects and do a certain amount of healing depending on what ointment it is. And what Cora's basically said is that if you go down, she's got something that can reverse wounds.
I think you've told me never to answer questions that you already know the answer to, so I'm not going to. And for the record, you don't need to stick a finger in the wound, mainly because your hands are usually very dirty, and that's not good. And I reach into my bag and I go...
But you have to apply pressure, don't you? Apply pressure.
To the wound. And I pull out I reach into my bag and I pull out my healer's kit and I go, this is what we use when I go down. It's got 10 little packs in it. You just break out the pack and it will
I have
help.
a feeling I tried to use. I'm just out of character. I have a feeling
Yes,
I tried to use and I rolled so badly that I just did this. So yeah,
I think you just gave him extra clothing rather than bandaging
something.
and you just bled underneath it.
Yeah, medicine is wisdom, and I do have a +3 on it, but still, it wasn't.
It did not go well.
It did not go well. No. Anyway.
So. Not to prompt it too much because time is cracking on. Cora, if you're going to have the conversation, probably best to have it now.
I don't know if this is a short little quick but yeah.
Well, we can probably have it, and then if we hit 11, we'll just pause and then continue when we...
Or go over a little bit because we started late again. So.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice what time we started. I'll don't worry, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Either way, we're in a private room, and you're not gonna get more private than this.
Yeah. And anyways, that was not the news that I wanted to tell you this morning. But this is news to you two. In fact, this is a lot of news for you two. But I feel like I've not told you lots of stuff for it's been a while, and we've gone through a lot, and I feel like I should fill you in on some stuff. So when I said I'd been in Ostergald for only like a year or something, that wasn't true. I grew up in Freetown. Yeah, I don't know if I have given that away by stuff I've said.
Yeah.
Sure. But I didn't look like this. I looked like this, and I turned into Taro.
Sure.
So
completely different halfling.
So it's sort of a bit less lean and thing, like just a bit more halfling looking, kind of curly hair, sort of sandy brown curly hair and things. Yeah. So yeah, I grew up this, and I've been through this kind of crap before, in the sense of working for someone who then fucks you over. And although actually thinking about it, I didn't ask that freaking question. Okay, that's a whole other thing. But I think I was fucked over, but things changed. Okay, so what I thought I knew has all changed because of last night, because I figured out that I can kind of travel through my dreams or something, and I ended up in the Feywilds.
Oh.
And
Oh.
yes, Farewell's a little ahead of everyone. So basically, to cut a long story short a little bit. So before that, I was with a group of adventurers, and we were and Farewell knew them. We met a couple of years ago, and then something happened on one of our trips, and everybody died. Almost including me, and including someone I cared a lot for, called Enola. And she...
Glory just smiles knowingly at Cora, like, yes.
Yeah. And so when this happened, I woke up and everyone was dead, and I panicked and ran and found Farewell, and that's when I looked like this, and I turned back to Cora. Something had happened, and I rushed back with Farewell, and we couldn't find Enola, and we found Eowyn. And I say to Eowyn, like, she can become uninvisible if she isn't already.
Yeah, so where there's just some potpourri that just seems to have randomly spilt, suddenly there's this little sprite just sat there.
We've seen it before.
You have seen her before, but she currently, she looks different. She's got a little cap and a little, like, postman pat belt thing.
Yeah, little jacket with piping. She looks really dapper.
She looks
right
official, yeah. Yeah, she's had an outfit change. That was a last night thing too, right? So,
Okay,
anyway.
wait. You're. Oh, this is going to be good. Farewell sits down at the end of the bed and just like crosses his arms and just sort of looks at Cora like, I mean, you're angry at me for going to a party. I was not for the Feywilds.
Cora actually just like seeing that, Cora just kind of breaks into a huge grin and runs up to Farewell and gives him a huge hug, going, "She's not dead. She's not dead. She's alive. Oh my gosh, she's alive."
What?
Enola's alive. She's not dead at all.
How?
She's been alive all this time. Okay. Oh my god. So she wasn't there because she went back to the Feywilds. This is why I don't know if it really was a thing or whether it was a ruse to get her back to the Feywild. I need to check that. Maybe we can dream again tonight. I don't know. I'm kind of looking at Eowyn. Yes, she was. I thought she was just an elf, but she was proper Fey. I mean, she's a freaking princess, and now.
And you ask me if I'm reality.
Well, yeah, I'm actually a knight. I'm a freaking knight.
All right. Oh, okay.
I'll have to get you a proper suit then.
At this point, Eowyn pulls out the world's smallest bugle and goes da 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 da.
Yeah, the person that we saw, you saw her too, right? The lady, all dark lady with amazing, like, burning fire. That's the general. That is the general. She's kind of a tough bitch, but she's kind of cool at the same time. And I met her last night when I went to the Feywilds. She was there, and she told me everything. And apparently, get this, I have been there before, a couple of times. And then we lost a freaking memory. But yeah, I've been there. We do think this was a clue, and I gave myself this clue, and I'm pointing at the ring that's on my ring finger, and like I saw that I pushed it on there, and I didn't know. And Nola gave me this ring. She's like,
so you married your girlfriend? That is great.
I don't actually
Was
know if we're
Farrell the
officially
one
married.
doing it?
No,
I bloody hope so. I'd be really upset if it wasn't me.
I didn't even
I've
ask.
been working for that speech for years, and then all of this happened. Anyway,
Well,
I'm gonna.
the problem was that her father didn't like it, which is why she got bamfed back. She has to do stuff in the Feywilds because, royalty and all. But yeah, and we've snuck in together. We've had nights, and I don't remember them. That's so annoying.
Who's her dad?
I don't know, but
Ron?
apparently I have said something bad to him in the past, but I don't remember.
The Summer King. It's the Summer King. You know that.
Yeah.
But she
I can't remember.
Cora doesn't really care.
Cora's
Yeah,
written
Cora
about that.
doesn't
Yes,
remember,
she
Cora
does, yeah.
doesn't
He's a king. I know that, obviously. Anyway, oh my God, so much happened, and you weren't here in the morning. This is why I was pissed at you. Anyway, she's alive. Fuck me, she's alive. Oh, and that might happen.
She will, Cora. I am sure she will.
Well, I made the general promise that if we did some stuff. I have. Okay, separate news, but more interesting for you guys maybe. Do you remember the cat, the talking cat?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
He's from the Feywilds, and they want him back, and we can go talk to him and take him back. And he wanted to go back, and then they want him back, and he doesn't remember who he was. And I remember a few things, but everything's a bit heady now. Oh my God, I need a drink. And I sit down on the floor.
And as you say, I need a drink, suddenly you hear the doors opening and servants come in with drinks.
Yep.
It does work.
A quite attractive half-orcish male walks in, and he's got a whole. He comes in with a trolley, and the trolley's basically a moving minibar. He bows curtly to you all and walks out.
Oh no, he's hot.
Pretty much all the servants are hot here. It's kind
Yeah.
of.
Are you okay, Eclipse? You've been looking at the servants the entire day.
Is there like some kind of requirement of like being a certain level of attractiveness to live in this house?
No, but everyone is expected to do their best to look their best. That might be it.
Huh. It's weird. Also, your dad is really nice.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is actually really nice. It's nice to find a nice person.
Yes.
The other news, the general and the guys in the Feywilds are also interested in these demons and what's going on, and so they can help. If we get a demon, I can give it to the general, and that's useful. Yeah.
Ooh, now that would be fascinating. I want to know what a fae can do to a demon.
Yeah, no idea.
You can make entire studies on how they could basically tear them apart in their own dreamscape.
Oh yeah, that was kind of the thing.
Wrong with you?
And I was given
Demons
a
don't
bag,
dream,
right?
Farewell. Can you imagine how different it would be for them who can't naturally dream to go into the dream?
While this is going on, I will do a Merrick and ritual cast to get my familiar back.
Sure.
Oh.
Okay.
Did he get poofed, didn't he? I can't remember what happened to him.
Yeah.
And Athena comes back. This owl appears. Farewell's room now smells of so much incense. 10 gold pieces worth of incense is like a bushel of incense. And she's just been there in the corner of the room whilst you're talking, just lighting up this incense until the entire room just reeks of it.
It's not. It's no worse than a Sunday service. Farewell at this point is so completely immune to the smell of it. He's just like, yeah, it's all good. Not, next time I'll take you to my shop in Ostergald, and we can get you some of the nice stuff because yours is just. I won't lie, it smells cheap. We'll get you the really nice. Nice things.
Sorry.
The good jasmine, you know.
Yeah.
None of this chemical sprayed shit.
Yeah, it just okay. So, how the am I? What the fuck is going on? I feel like we're moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour in the most insane directions.
Well,
Yep.
it wouldn't be glorious if it wasn't insane.
Yeah.
There's a sudden knock on the door.
Hello. I opened the door.
There's a servant, their eyes cast down, and the servant says, "We have a visitor for Ambassador Barebones."
Oh,
Somebody wants to see you, Farewell.
Oh. Who is it?
Undermaster Smith Guinevere Blackforge.
Ah, awesome! You gotta come with Guinevere.
of course. Take her into the waiting room. We'll be there.
And it's still in the guest wing, because she's brought to the guest wing. There is a trolley, similar to the one that food has been brought with, but it has some items covered by cloth, and stood there with a kind of an eager look is Guinevere.
Aye.
Ambassador Barebones, I'm told. We have completed your order, sir.
That's amazing. Guys, come on, you gotta see, like, Guinevere is, like, amazing blacksmith. You should see some of the stuff in her shop, man. It is so amazing. It's like, I like Fellows just moves straight over and he's just digging straight into the stuff and he's just like going.
So
Oh,
as you
yeah.
walk up, she pulls the top layer off first, and it is beautiful, a beautiful shield and a matching style of helmet. And she says, "As per your request, it's a shield of panacea and a helmet of mind protection."
Pick in Discord. Oh.
No, wait! I haven't uploaded it yet. I was gonna wait for him to step into it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm showing it on the stream, so I wanted to.
You were faster than me.
I've put a pic. It's fine.
So
I do hope it lives up to the expectation.
Oh, that's great.
That's
so
amazing.
she's only showing the helmet and the shield at first, and she points out, as per your specifications. And she, as much as Farewell has gushed about her, she doesn't seem to look all too proud, and most dwarves at least give a kind of acknowledgement of the praise to their skills. And she's just very stony faced. And she says, "Would you like to test the balance of the shield, sir?" And she hands you the shield.
Yes, please. And so he'll take this great winged kite shield into his left hand, with the very bottom tip of the hand near his sort of fist, and he'll just sort of start like, woof, and just like punching it out, and be like, he's just like, "How did you get the balance right without me even trying
Just
it on?"
out of curiosity, Nick, just roll me a d20, just a straight
Okay.
d20.
That's 15.
Okay, good to know. He's there. He's whooshing this winged shield backwards and forwards. It looks very dynamic. And then Guinevere picks up the helmet and she says, "It's made to fit around the gills, as we have discussed." And you put it on your head, and it's a perfect fit. She then takes the second set of items that's underneath the cloth, and she seems to take quite a bit of time arranging it a certain way. And she says, "And your armor, sir." And she pulls the cloth off, and it's the armor that you can see in the picture. This beautiful, beautiful armor. She seems to be displaying the front to you, but not the back. And she says, "There is one thing about it, slight incantation with the armor. Is it okay if we go into private for a second, Ambassador Farewell, so I can tell you the incantation? It can't be said. It can only be said to the owner."
And he just sort of looks at Glory like...
We walk out of the room.
Okay, so she actually ushers Farewell into the room that you guys have just left, and she closes the door so that only Guinevere and Farewell in there. She throws the armor on the bed, all of the previous formality gone, and she puts her finger to her lips, throws her hand at the wall, and casts silence on the room. But it's a form of silence that means that no sound can escape the room. You can hear each other. And she goes, "What the bloody hell are you playing at? You were trying to get me killed."
Oh.
How?
What incantations have you been doing whilst you've been here?
None. Quite.
What prayers? Simple prayers, just prayers of recognition. You don't go asking for anything here. You don't go pushing your luck here. You're a representative. I told you the way I keep myself safe is that I keep my beliefs to myself, but I don't try to push out into the greater world.
I'll be completely honest, I haven't done anything. I really don't understand what's going on right now.
Aye.
Perhaps you should explain why you're
How many gods have you been praying to whilst you've been here?
One.
Okay. The Queen, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, explain to me this then. The armor looks good, doesn't it?
Wonderful.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's not the design that I intended. It's better than I intended. One could say I was visited by a muse. Especially considering halfway through, I blacked out and had no idea what I was doing. And when I came to, I put this bloody thing on the back. And she walks up to the armor, flips it over, and on the back of your armor is the Eye of Ioun.
Oh. I didn't do that.
Aye, and I didn't do this. She picks up the armor, throws it at you, and the armor goes into tons of pieces, and it flies onto your body. And the armor just dons itself onto your armor. She goes, "I don't know that enchantment!"
That's so cool! Does it come off in the same way?
Just pull at the breastplate, man! You pull at the breastplate, and it all goes and becomes just a hanging set of armor. This armor has a don and doff time of 1 action.
Meanwhile, outside's like, how long does it take to say like one little incantation? Like,
She's probably helping him put it on first. You know how it is with new armor.
Sure. Just,
Maybe there's something more. Maybe there's something more than we initially thought.
I don't know. Maybe there's a.
Eowyn goes, "Yeah, it's like new shoes, isn't it? It's like when you put new shoes on for the first time. It always pinches at the heel, you know." I had one that was made before out of rose petals, and you would have thought they'd be really soft, but they really chafed at the heel. This conversation goes on amongst the girls outside, and a pissed off, bright red-faced Guinevere is there going, "You had to have done something. It was nothing I did. I feel like I've been visited by a muse or an angel or something."
Oh, that's happened to me a couple of times. You
Well, you could have bloody mentioned it. It's never happened to me before. I'm a blacksmith.
In my defense, I didn't know it would happen. I mean,
I'm a layman. I've not got formal cleric training. I know a few things.
You really...
I'm a worshipper.
Oh, I think you're a little more than that now.
Yeah, I bloody well am now. I wasn't yesterday.
Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? I mean, you did say you weren't planning on staying here much longer, and you were going to go traveling again.
I booked a fucking ship about an hour ago.
Oh, I didn't mean that soon.
I
Did you not
don't
think
know. I only declared one thing. I declared I was a follower of Moradin, and now I can do this. And she goes up and she presses her 2 fingers against your forehead, and suddenly you gain proficiency in investigation.
Oh.
Oh! What, permanently, or just...
You don't know.
Oh!
No,
Oh, fuck!
that's a knowledge cleric thing, I think.
Oh, fuck, what have I done?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm really sorry, I don't know what I've done.
I speak 14 languages. I knew 2 this morning.
Oh, I'm really sorry, I don't know what I've done.
Neither do I. Terrifying me.
Can I go get my friend? She...
No. I'm gonna go and get my tools, get to the ship, and claim that my father's dying or something. Okay, I'm gonna go. Okay.
Hold on. And he reaches into his pack, and I give her 6 pieces of platinum. I'm really sorry.
She goes to.
I'm really sorry. Don't be angry at me. I really don't know what happened.
She goes to tell you what you can do with your 6 platinum, and then she takes it off, and she goes, expenses for the journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want me, no, I'm speaking. If you want me, I'll be in the Black Forge lands back in Meridia. There's nowhere else I feel safe now. And she pockets the platinum and goes, I don't know what your game is, but the gods are with you. I just wish they were more with me. And as she leaves the room, you lose your proficiency in investigation.
Oh boy.
As she walks past you guys, she's less red. She just looks like she's blushing, and she just goes, "Ladies," and just walks out.
Well,
Bye!
was she red-faced? What the?
What did they do?
creep into the room, or just peer around the door, but
Yeah, is Farewell naked?
yeah, like what? He looked flustered.
Yeah, he's probably many different shades of colours, and just got this 1,000-yard stare. But he's still very much wearing what he was before. A simple shirt. That's
Okay, yeah. Totally, lots of things going on in the head of what actually just happened.
He's still
in that
holding
room.
this half-plate armor, in his hand.
Excellent. You thanked her then? Okay.
I think I just ruined her life.
How?
Is she pregnant?
Wow! Wow! Is that why you weren't with us all day? What? Serious?
That's very quick, Farewell.
The gods must be either.
Yeah, to know it that quick, it must be the
I
gods.
really need a drink.
You've got a whole minibar next
We'll have
to you.
to
Yeah.
celebrate.
I woke up and I find the bottle of the strongest stuff, and I just start necking it.
Yeah, sure. It's a ceramic jug that has let's see. Yeah, it's a ceramic jug that has dwarvish writing on it.
Fitting.
Yeah, he's still holding in one hand he will have the plate, but in the other hand he's most definitely just going to town on that drink because it's just she was just an innocent blacksmith, and she was just,
I look at
they covered
Glory
that, and now I've just gone and destroyed her life, and now she's angry at me. I made a new friend on my own, and now I've just destroyed her life.
Somebody else is angry with you? What did you do today?
I don't know, and it's always women.
Well, you have a way with them, clearly.
Clearly.
I wish I didn't.
Well done.
Can we see the back of the armor? Can we see this, the Eye of Iron symbol?
Unless Farewell is doing a sleight of hand trick to hide it. Apparently, yeah. There's this eye on the back that you know as the Eye of Ioun. Presumably, it's part of the enchantment.
Okay.
Oh, did she added? I thought you were Raven. Why did she add?
We don't talk about the eye. Not until she's left the city. We don't talk about the eye.
Okay.
You chase her out of town?
Didn't chase her out of town. I didn't even know.
Well, technically,
Are you gonna pay
This needs more conversation, but
Are you gonna pay child support, or we're gonna be like involved family for the child?
Too real.
how are you gonna raise the child if she has to leave town? Is that why she's leaving town to come to Ostergald?
With us?
Eowyn, who is definitely not helping the situation, goes, so how does it work? Will it be dwarvish, or will it be genasi, or will it be like a small fish kind of...
First of all, I'm primordial, not a triton, so that's very racist. I'm technically more closely related to water elementals than I am actual fish people.
So like this really small water elemental, right? How does
You
the
do
meat
realise that I can
I
actually
need
still
nothing.
squash you, right? Second, I only met her yesterday, and I don't know if you know this. Today, sorry. I've only met her today, and I don't know if you know about this, me, but I'm not particularly well versed or experienced in that. And
well,
third
so
and final.
how much do you
This
know? Because
isn't
maybe
funny.
you did it without noticing. Do you know the birds and the bees enough to know what?
Cora, I'm a fully trained doctor. I understand how the mechanics work. I might not exactly know how, you get from point A to point B, but I'm pretty sure I know what to do when I get to point B.
Right.
And you didn't get to
Sure.
point B. Wow.
There is a lot of delicacies involved.
Did you get to point B?
I feel we're talking politics again in a weird kind of way.
This is like the second worst day of my life.
Which one was the first?
Oh, when his family died, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Turid.
That would do it. Oh.
Wow.
So,
Okay, well, this has been a
having
day.
your family die and raising a family in... Okay, Yeah,
So-
I suppose.
Are you sure you're the same people that I knew when I first got in here? Because what is wrong with you people? Do you just realise what you said so flippantly?
Well, to be fair, Farewell,
back home,
we
I
don't
think.
really know how to react to the fact that you have gotten someone pregnant.
Because you haven't said that you haven't said that you have not yet. You haven't denied it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Right. Because I thought this was really obvious. No.
Nope, you
I
were
have
gone all day, and then she turned up with a gift,
Right.
and then left very
I-
flustered and saying that she's gonna leave the city. I mean,
Wait. Stop that. And he walks into and pulls out out of the bag of holding, pulls out a book on anatomy, puts it on the bed, flicks to the bit on dwarves, puts his finger underneath the period for dwarven pregnancy, and just points. No. No.
Okay.
I ruined her life has just been shown by the gods in a city
Yeah, that
will
would do it.
lay alive.
Wait. Say
That's
that again.
what
What?
No,
did
no.
you...
Crap.
Oh.
We should not say it.
Okay.
It's
It was
better to
very
leave it.
robotic.
This
I
is
didn't
place
actually
is
hear
safe.
it.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
Yeah.
He said because she's now been shown by the gods in a city that will live for alive for being their instrument. And we're talking this god. We're talking, and he points to the fuck off eye on the back of this thing.
Okay. You should probably
This one.
not wear that until we've left.
Well, that is for Kate.
But
Yeah, but he's an ambassador for the Raven Queen. You
Yes,
can't
but
then
I'm
suddenly be...
telling you, a cape.
yeah, but what?
What if the cape
Touch
blows
is-
up?
I just flick on, just like throw it on myself.
So yeah, you guys watch as he just nonchalantly throws the armor, like he's trying to flip it up in the air and catch it. But as he flips it up, the armor just falls apart. He steps into the armor as it cascades down, and it just goes ching, 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 all over his body, and he's now wearing the armor.
That
So
is an
Iron Man is amazing.
impressive enchantment. I
Yeah.
want to take a look at it later.
Watch this. Wait. And I pull the rest off, and and it just all shoots straight off me.
Nice.
That is significantly quicker than it was before.
Very much so.
Wow.
Glory, you know this to be a complement enchantment. It doesn't actually take up the enchantment slot on the armor. It's just it's a minor enchantment that's normally put in addition to other enchantments. It doesn't take up the full arcane load of the material.
Yes, that one is really good. I can still make more enchantments on that piece if you want to later. It's gonna take a while though, so we'll have to figure out what we want first of all.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about getting armor. We never got any. Damn it.
Oh, I'll get one of my catalogs.
I would say she's probably going to be here for like a couple more hours. I
No,
don't think that's
I
until
don't think
the
we
next-
should stress her anymore. But we got measured earlier, and I can't
Yeah.
remember if they were gonna make us something, or we talked about it.
No,
But if we're leaving tomorrow,
we just got the measurements so that we could order something later in case we found something after the tea party.
how
but
quick are
then-
they? How could they make
Then
it
Hope got her
before we
packs in a
leave?
twist.
What? What did you say, Eclipse?
Nothing.
Oh.
At that point, Kyron comes back round the corner, and he says, "I saw the lady leave."
Yes, sweetheart, you can come in now. We've had the grown-up talks.
And
So, take
he
a
goes,
look at
"You
this.
should have said it was armor." Oh, your armor's really cool.
Literally, quite literally dive across, grab hold of it, and I just shove it in my bag. I'm just like panic shoving it in there.
Yeah, he's kind of like, "It's okay, I'm not going to play with it. Hey, look at the shield." And he goes up and starts looking at the shield. He really loves armor.
Yes, the shield kind of reminds me of Uncle's, though his looks like a dragon wing. And it has a bit more sharp points. Well, that one is also really sharp.
And Kyron goes, "Yeah, but everything looks like dragon wings around here. That's really cool."
That is true, that is true. Everyone has dragon's wings. Especially Mother. Oh,
At that point, Kyron ends up having the biggest yawn, and you can tell he's struggling to stay awake. At this point, with all the arguments and things like that you've had, it's about 9 o'clock. You guys got up quite early anyway, especially Farewell. So you're all starting to feel fatigued.
well, ladies, I can have some armor ordered that will be better than what you have now. And it should be ready by the morning. We can't
Are
be too
you
specific about size.
sure? Because mine is already at +1, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get anything better. I might be able to get some item, maybe like some kind of bracelet, or braces or something that increases by 1 instead of armor. We'll see.
Indeed.
Okay.
Though I do want to see if we had any way of finding that circlet.
At the moment, because of all the things that you've been doing today, no sign of the circlet. You haven't had a chance to even pursue that goal.
What
Yeah.
what time do we have to leave in the morning? Do we have to leave like mega early? Do you think we'll have the morning?
No, not mega early. That would be enough.
Maybe.
You guys have got some time. Some time.
We might have time in the morning.
Either way.
To try and get up early.
And
Okay.
Glory will pick up Kyron. I do believe it's time for bed. It's been a stressful day.
Good night, little
You have the
one.
map if you need to find me. I have my library there, so if in case it's not urgent, you can just wait for me to wake up.
Okay. So I've got a few scenes to round up. Okay, and I'll get through them as quickly as I can.
Tight.
So, the quick description scenes to wrap up for the night.
Yeah.
Let me call up the notes for one of them, being that you guys have made me make lots of notes today.
I'm sorry.
How dare you? How dare you add content to our story? So, the following things happen. I'm going to start off with the night. So, the first thing is that as you get to bed, most of you crash out completely. Cora, it gets to about midnight, and after the excitement of the day, especially sharing your incredibly exciting news, you find it difficult to go to sleep. And also you realize one of the things that's barring you from sleep is you're trying so hard to dream. And then you realize, how stupid that is. You're concentrating so hard on dreaming, you're not actually getting to sleep. After a while, you can't remember when or if you fell asleep, but there's something shifting in the bed next to you. You know it's not Eowyn. Eowyn is currently curled up. Her cap is over her face. And there's the way that her chest is rising and falling. You have a feeling she's neatly asleep, or the equivalent that she does, a kind of trance. Nights are very boring for her. She never used to sleep, but now she's found this way of kind of meditating and just being out of it for a while, because it's better than being bored every night for 8 hours. And as the sheets shift next to you, you kind of, knowing where you are startled, and you turn around, and Enola is right next to you in the bed, and she goes, "Is it weird? I was told that you don't remember."
I just grab her and just hug her so tight, and I don't let go.
Sure. Knowing that this is enough of an answer for her, she holds you tight. You can tell that the way that her chest, funny enough, is rising and falling, she's just breathing a little too heavily. That she's trying not to be over-emotional around you. She's trying not to burst into tears, frankly. And she holds you just that little bit too tight for the longest time. And the dream, if it's a dream, or if it's the waking world, you slip into a form of true peace, true warmth. And for you, the whole world fades to black. But safe, warm, and happy for the first time in a very long time. The night goes on. You all have a long rest. You're feeling like you're growing as individuals. That the world as it is something that you're starting to understand just that little bit more. And you're preparing yourself for every eventuality. In mechanical terms, at the beginning of the next session, you will have gained a level. But you're also in a state of preparation, readiness. but it's preparation for the unknown. You know who you are, who you've got around you, what's important to you. And you also know, especially with this crash course on how the world can be in Atal'Zaran, how things can be elsewhere, for better and worse. Dawn rises, and in this beautiful, luxurious setting, light starts to cascade through the windows of several of you. Cora, Enoa's gone, but you kind of expected that. Lying in her place is a beautiful set of armor that looks like it will fit you. Strangely, even though you've never worn it in your life, it's kind of like a half plate. Very different to Farewell's. It's actually a duelist plate, so it only covers one half of your body. And you realize, what am I going to do with this? I don't fight with a weapon. Occasionally I use a dagger, but this is no good to me. There's a tag just on the side of it, on elegant paper that smells of honeysuckle. And it reads, "To my sister in arms, Sir Cora of the Summer Reach. Step forward with honor, grace, and strength. Be steadfast in our principles, and bring glory to our noble house and your heart's patron. I issue you your spurs in the form of this raiment, your commander and ally. General Amaka, commander of the Order of Summer, Crown Guard Prime, bearer of the blade, honors Fury, the blade flower." You pick up the armor, and it just, in the same way that if you've ever seen the one-half dueling armor of anybody who does fencing, you realize you can just slip your arm in. And as you do so, it suddenly gets very warm and vibrates softly, as if it's attuning to you almost instantly. And at that point, this half armor explodes across your body, turning into a number of different textures: chainmail, leather, silk, satin, hessian, a number of different forms, and then it settles on something that's very you. You're almost certain you've worn this clothing before. And then as you look at it, you go, yeah, but in this one, that the wrist had buttons. And as you're thinking the wrist had buttons, buttons appear on the wrist. This armor is called a shift shroud, and this is the 6th game that I've placed it in. It's always been different every time, but the one thing that the shift shroud always has is that as an action, you can change its appearance to look like any clothing. In fact, you don't need to wear clothing anymore as long as you're wearing the shift shroud, and it will turn into the clothing of your choice. Statistically speaking, it is +1 studded leather, and yes, that also stacks with your braces of defense. It has one extra quality as well, and that is every time you're hit by any attack in which you lose 1 or more hit points, roll a d6. On a 5 or 6, you cast Misty Step on yourself immediately as a reaction.
Oh.
Which I believe allows you to teleport to 30 foot anywhere in range.
I have Misty Step, so yeah, that's useful. I can just look at the...
This one doesn't expend a spell slot.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I think I've only used Misty Step once, and that was when we were racing against Marek, or to get away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
typically, warlocks don't really use Misty Step because their spell slots are precious. This one triggers, well, kind of randomly on a 5 or 6 on a d6. What's
Yeah,
known as
when you're hit.
Recharge 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
sorry,
you have to be hurt. So it has what we call Recharge 5. That means as you roll a d6, if you get 5 or 6 on the dice, it triggers.
Okay. It doesn't have charges that disappear, because if
No.
you keep getting hit...
No charges
it's
to
just
track. You've
constant.
got too many things that have charges, so you don't track charges here. If you lose 1 or more hit points as the result of an attack
Yeah.
upon your person, you cast if you roll a d6, if you get a 5 or 6, immediately a Misty Step happens, or you can choose for a Misty Step to happen.
We just
Yeah,
lost
if I didn't-
Felicia.
Oh shit! Oh no, that's fucked
Yep.
up everything. Oh, we were so close to the end. And she wasn't the last to come in, so that's gonna like. If she pops back in, I think we'll just all be in the wrong place. But that's.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. She'll be back in a second. So that is Cora's armor. And I'm going to keep going for purposes of this.
Oh, that was Discord. That was
That-
Discord.
that was-
Oh, is Discord doing
Oh, 'cause
shenanigans?
it was her cool. So how does that work?
It transferred to one of us. That's what the reason.
Oh, right.
I'd say she's
Can we
still-
all check to invite her back in? Because she won't be able to get back in.
I'll
The
quickly add
call
a.
doesn't belong to me.
How? Where is she?
No, she's writing in the chat. She's asking if the call did everything die for everyone. Then I wrote just you.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
can
she's
everybody...
back.
Yay, here we go.
I've gone back to a screen that isn't messed up, or at least names. There's no names. So.
Okay, cool.
Oh no, wait.
Damn
the
you,
old
Sorry
Discord.
about that.
The old one worked.
It's okay.
in the same places.
Bloody Discord. Anyway, right. So, so the only thing that you missed, Felicia, is the effect of the armor, and that is that whenever she gets hit, she rolls a d6. On a 5 or 6, she can Misty Step.
Nice.
Okay. So that's Cora. That's you sorted out for this session. Next is going to be Eclipse. As the sunlight... Yes, Eclipse. As the sunlight comes through the window, it lights up your body. It hits the bed that you are curled up on. It lights up your fur, and you are warmed up by its embrace. You wake up in this place of pure luxury on this beautiful warm bed. The sunlight is bouncing off the gold leaf and the marble and these beautiful pieces of furniture, which means that you can see perfectly lit around about a foot away from your body the severed head that's on your bed.
Ah! Do I know who it is?
Using a piercing on the right ear, there's a gift tag that is secured by beautiful pink ribbon on scented notepaper. This one smells of roses. And it says, "To my dear Eclipse, I hear you were looking for one of these. With the regards of the great Queen Tiamat and her loyal followers, use it well." And instead of being signed, there's a kiss mark made by green lipstick. On the head of on the severed head is a circlet of intellect.
She reluctantly takes it.
Okay, please change your alignment to no.
You are now lawful evil.
Okay.
Shit.
So yeah, in the middle of the night, Hope just came in, plugged a severed head on your bed, and walked off.
Yep.
By the way, the vizier that Nefia was talking about earlier, it's his head.
Yeah. I
And just give me a quick medicine check, Eclipse. Just a quick one.
Wisdom. Oh,
Is
no.
he dead or is he not dead?
It's the severed head, not dead, with a 6. I think
with-
it might have.
With a 6.
I just-
Yep, that's a head. You have confirmed it is the head.
I've just realised that Farewell, and I've just been checking my inventory. I have a severed head in my inventory from when we were in the facility.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we were going to ask it questions.
Oh yeah.
Which
yeah.
I have been keeping fresh due to my unique abilities as a grave cleric. It is still pristine
things we
in its
remember.
condition, and it's just been sat in my bag of holding.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean,
I love the fact that whilst you guys were doing all of these conversations and things, I was like, oh, they have no idea what's coming. And
Yeah.
finally, the light cascades through Glory's window.
Mm.
And you wake up with familiar sights and smells, the feeling of home. Your bed, and curled up, being that he got a bit too warm in the night, so he kind of curled off to another part of the bed, but not so far that he's too far away from you, is little Chiron. Happy that he's managed to spend some time with his sister. And sat on the end of the bed is Frania, the black dragon, in his humanoid form, and he's very lightly running his fingers through Chiron's hair with absolute love. You know for a fact that absolute love and protection for little Chiron. This one's going to grow up to be as much of a character as you, my dear.
I'm sure he won't disappoint.
I'm sure he won't. I'm sorry to say that your stay here must be cut short. I did want to spend more time with you. You're growing in directions that I cannot foresee, and I see so many of those that I love grow, succeed or fail, fly or fall. Like my hatchlings, my children, who I have had the heartache of outgrowing. And yet, this is the way of the world, the way it must be. There is strength, and the dead, and none in between. I feel that the world needs to be ready for little Chiron, rather than the other way round. And he smiles. Go get your friends. Make sure they're well armored. We have some healing potions that we'll be able to use to send you. Go, now. Get them. We need to go to Ostergald. I say we. I mean you. There's an invasion.
Oh?
From the Abyss. The city is under siege. And you need to go and you, my glory, you need to save them.
Yes.
Hurry! Now! And you get up, dash out into the room to go and get your friends. And as you do so, you can hear this almost operatic singing from Frania in Draconic as he starts to incant a teleportation circle right there in your room.
Yeah.
And next
Time to
session,
go.
you motherfuckers are going to Ostergald.
Yeah.
Well, or yeah.
Oh, pirates! Pirates!
And then straight to the dock and be like,
I'll
layers!
say straight to the dock. Fuck you!
Maybe via Freetown.
No.
We'll just grab a few
We're
people.
going to the primordial plane so the farewell can find his ancestors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. Anywhere but here.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. Fuck
Okay.
We've covered a lot this session, but there was one thing that I wanted you to get to, and that was Frania sadly saying goodbye to Glory. And you genuinely believe that Frania wanted to spend more time with you and get to know you a bit more because, as he said, you're one of the few people he doesn't know about in his pet family. And he knows he's got to let you go again because he's got to send you off to be glorious and make a difference in the world. So, next session, leveled up. Make sure you know what your items do, because you're going in hot. Oh my god, are you going in hot?
Yep. break time's over.
For anybody who's watching, please join us on our Discord. There's a link in the show notes. And if you're seeing this on Twitch, look below or wherever the Twitch information is, and help us join the story, and tell us what you think, any theories, anything you liked. Come and talk to us. It's an open invitation to join our community, as it always has been. And we will see you next week if it's on Discord. Our new schedule is starting to take shape, so it looks like that we record on Fridays and we do the premiere on Saturdays these days, depending on how it's going. The way that Kate's doing the production and stuff like that is different to how I do it, so we'll probably move things around until it settles into a pattern, and just
maybe
keep watching, keep enjoying.
At some point very soon.
Who knows? You've got much better kit than me, so yeah,
we can
I'm
give it a go.
stoked. Well, I might throw a one-shot or something together to experiment on this before we go into a full-blown episode, especially considering the next few episodes, we really want to get that right, because there's so much going on. Yeah, I'm intimidated, and I've written the damn thing. So... Thank you very much, everybody. Look after yourselves. We love you very much. And see you next week. Good night.
Bye.